Gay Odyssey is somebody who definitely supports the January 6th, and I would 100% say that people who support January 6th are terrorist sympathizers.
No,
there's no question about that.
I think they're operating on
There's no, January 6th 100% to the, they are just terrorists. There is no difference between somebody who is supporting January 6th.
There was this insurrection, that Trump is this authoritarian fascist, insane person that led a coup on the U.S. government, and then they're acting like it's insane that someone
trying to act like we've been asking this for 5 minutes now, though, and you haven't given a simple answer yet. So we're trying to understand.
Yeah,
do you believe that there was a conspiracy for the Secret Service had motive for Trump to get shot?
I do think that was a very bad tweet by Destiny, and I think it was, it was just a bad tweet and a bad take.
That those same people turning around and throwing a fit and crying about the fact that people called Trump a Nazi or called him Hitler is it's so disgusting to watch those people who laughed at George Floyd and made a bunch of jokes about it, then cry that people called Trump Hitler is so disgusting to watch happen in real time, where there's no fucking shot you can allow those people to get away with that. That those people even get up in a bigger uproar about it and throw an even bigger fit, when again, it's the same fucking people. It's the same people over and over who are laughing it up over all the other fucking tragedies. Yes, it's kind of obnoxious, and it doesn't mean that two wrongs make a right. It means that it's kind of obnoxious to watch the same hypocrisy happen over and over and over until eventually you get to a point where you're you know what, fuck you guys. You're all such babies, dude. When I was watching Piers, watching Destiny on Piers, I was watching Lonerbox review the whole thing, and damn, dude, the whole time I was just blown away with how fucking retarded these people were. So I posted on Twitter, I said, I'm not gonna lie, watching Destiny talk to Dave Rubin and Piers Morgan is moving me closer to his position. That and all of my conservative friends crying about people calling Trump Hitler. Conservatives are actually deranged. Every one of my friends, they're all conservatives, and all of them that I'm talking to, every response that they give to me, they strawman the fuck out of everything that I say. Every single time, they'll say did you know that they compared Trump to Hitler? And I'm well, when did that happen? I know that there were a lot of similarities in his rhetoric and stuff, and that there were a lot of celebrities calling him Hitler in 2016. And then they send me videos talking about celebrities calling him Hitler. Okay, that's not the media calling him Hitler. That's just the celebrities calling him Hitler. They're all a bunch of performative fucks, so of course they're going to do that. But then the other things are points where Trump is literally word for word copying Hitler's rhetoric. Word for word, 100% across the board, copying Hitler's rhetoric. Word for word, this is what Hitler said about the Jews. That the Jews were poisoning the blood of their country. And then Trump said the same thing about immigrants. And so I had told one of my friends this. I was dude, in one of the things you're showing them comparing the rhetoric, he's literally saying word for word what Hitler said. He's saying they're poisoning the blood of our country. And he's oh, dude, they're totally taking it out of context. He was talking about the fact that that all of these other countries are emptying out all of their prisons and all of their insane asylums, and then sending all of those people to our country. I was do you really think that there's a big difference there? Do you really think that changes what it is he said? Well, I don't think it's good that he said it. I didn't say you thought it was good. We're talking about the fact that it's still what Hitler said, bro. It's still what Hitler said. This is like me living in a neighborhood and a bunch of I live in a rich neighborhood and a bunch of black people move in. And so obviously they're well off. They've got enough money to afford to live in my neighborhood, and which means they're likely educated, and they've likely got a lot of money, and they're in the same class as me. But I say all of these black people are poisoning the blood of our neighborhood. People are like, what the fuck? What did you just say? I'm like, well, I'm saying, hold on. I'm saying because they're all a bunch of thugs and gangsters that they're poisoning the blood of our country or of our neighborhood. So that makes it better. I'm like,
Hey, what's up?
yo, I just started my stream, and after starting, I pulled up YouTube. You were the first recommendation. The YouTube's put you in the algorithm, but I wanted to see. So, what were your takes? Did you watch Destiny talk to Piers and Dave Rubin, or what were you going over?
Dave Rubin. Why the fuck would I go over Dave Rubin?
Dave Rubin was just on Piers Morgan debating Destiny about this shit.
Oh no, I haven't gone to that. Yeah, so my take has been, well, okay. It depends on what. So specifically, I totally fundamentally disagree with Destiny's idea of brushing off a bystander getting shot. I think his underlying logic is, well, this person is supports an insurrectionist, so he's anti-American, so therefore, well, maybe he doesn't deserve to be shot, but I don't see the point of having sympathy for him. I totally disagree with that kind of logic. I think that innocent Republican people in crowd, like Democrat people in crowd, like any type of people in crowd, deserve sympathy. The only person I would not have sympathy for would be like someone like a child pedophile or whatever. Also, I think
A
Destiny's
child
incorrect.
pedophile? Yeah, those child pedophiles are the worst, bro. You're right about that.
So I think that the problem also with Destiny's assumes that basically everyone who supports Trump or most people who support Trump are supporting what they think is insurrectionist. The vast majority of Trump people don't believe Trump was an insurrectionist. They have a totally different set of facts in their brain. They're operating on totally different information, but it does not make them bad people. That just makes them wrong. And I think the way to reach those people is not through insulting them, but through having good dialogue where you listen to what they have to say and you come back, counter it with good points, and then that way you can eventually move some people. In terms of Trump himself, um, like I would personally, yeah, honestly, from like a pragmatic. Okay, so out of for principles, I'm against any kind of violence, exception of self defense, and especially including political violence. I'm vehemently against that. So I think that's wrong. On a personal emotional level, I probably would not feel much sympathy for Trump being shot, but I also would not feel much sympathy for Biden being shot. So yeah, so I wouldn't probably, but pragmatically, it would be a very bad thing. I think, well, Biden being shot, as cruel as kind of heartless as it sounds, might actually be a good thing. But Trump being shot, I think, would be a horrible thing. It would cause massive chaos. There would be looting. There would probably be some people that die. It would just be bad all around. So yeah, so that's kind of my position.
I mean, the Destiny's logic on this isn't that like it's good for them to be shot. It's that he doesn't give a fuck. Like he's
Yeah,
saying
I
like,
understand.
I don't care to actually like show any sympathy because right-wingers have been doing the opposite for a while where they're like
So yeah, yeah,
where they're
he
going
doesn't
off
want
about people
violence.
who die from vaccines deserved it, people who um like what was the more recent thing? Anyways, the point is that
It
like
doesn't
they're
matter.
literally like starting
Both
all
the
of these
left,
conspiracy theories that are truly ruining the country.
yeah,
And
but
then
both
when
the
you have a
both
president who is that bombastic and that like divisive, it makes sense that people are going to start taking shots at him. Like it makes
Okay, I
sense
think
that that's
okay.
going to
So much you
happen.
said. Wait, let's separate this. We have to separate from people in the crowd to the president because they're different in my opinion. So both the
Well, they were
left
saying
and
that
the
they
right,
showed up to support him while knowing that he's likely going to get shot
they
and
don't
that he is this divisive and they're still there anyways.
they don't see him as divisive, Tom. Trump people see him as actually someone who's inclusive. They're operating on bad set of facts, but
They
they
no,
don't
they all
see
see him as divisive. They all see him as
they
divisive.
don't see him the way you and I see him, man. I've talked to my roommate is a Trump supporter. I talk to him all the time. Half my friends are Trump supporters. They see reality
Same.
very differently than we do.
Wait, but wait. All of my friends are also Trump supporters, but they all see him as divisive. They're all like, one of their first complaints every single time when they're talking about Trump's presidency is the fact that he wasn't able to get anything done because everybody in Congress, everybody in the Senate, everybody all across the government refused to work with him. They knew that he was divisive. They knew that he was somebody that nobody would work with because he was so divisive. Like, they're all well aware of this.
Okay, yours are maybe more self-aware. That's not the ones I've talked to, but okay. The Destiny's main point though was about them supporting insurrectionists, which is anti-American. Will you agree with me? At least the majority, if not all, Trump supporters don't see Trump as an insurrectionist.
I I don't I don't know that I don't know that I see Trump as an insurrectionist, but I do think that he was somebody who like started the insurrection and pushed for
Okay,
it
but
and
do you think that
supported
the
it.
people who are
And
voting for him largely see him as insurrectionist or not?
the okay, you're drawing this on like on a semantic line where the line is th- there were people who went into the Capitol to try to stop a democratic election, and Trump was supportive of that, and these people are all supportive of that as well. So
Okay, though
regardless of whether or
someone
not
like
we call
Destiny
it an
call someone like
insurrection,
Destiny
doesn't matter.
Destiny calls him a traitor. Do you think the people who are voting for him see him as a traitor?
No, but that's the point. That's the whole point. That's literally the entire point, is that they don't
So
see
they're
this
not
as
supporting
being a
someone
traitor.
who's anti-American. They're supporting someone who they believe is
Whether
very
or not
American.
they think he's anti-American doesn't matter. Whether or not they think he's an
It
insurrectionist doesn't
absolutely
matter.
does matter
He
when it
is
comes
one,
to,
and they are supporting it.
but they don't know better. They're operating on a bad set of
They do
information.
know better. They're not
No, they don't.
retarded, Alex. They do know better. These people have brains just like you and me. They know better. They just refuse to acknowledge it.
Yeah, I just refuse to agree to this idea that their lives are less valuable than our lives because they're supporting the wrong thing. I think their lives are equally as valuable
Oh,
as people on the left. And I don't just I this kind of heartless take of like, well, they yeah, maybe they didn't deserve it, but why should we have any sympathy for them kind of thing. That means that their lives are less valuable than other people, and I just fundamentally reject that. I don't think
okay, that's not true at all. Like, I've talked about this for a while. So you remember the saying that was going around in 2016 where people were saying punch a Nazi, right? Leftists were running around saying you should punch a Nazi. And I would say I don't think you should advocate for violence in that way. I think that that's wrong. But when Richard Spencer gets punched in the face, I don't feel bad for him. I don't give a fuck that he got punched
Right,
in the
because
face. I
Richard
just don't think that we
Spencer,
should advocate for it. These are two
right,
different
but
things.
there's a big difference there because Richard Spencer is someone who knows that he's a racist. He's proud of the fact that he's a racist,
Wait, no,
and
no, no,
he's
no. I'm differentiating like having sympathy for somebody versus advocating for the thing to happen. I'm saying that even people who are dying in Africa, they die all the time. I don't know about it. I don't care. If you told me about it, I wouldn't care because I don't have any feelings for these people. I don't care one way or the other. Whether or not you have sympathy for them doesn't mean that their lives are less valuable.
okay. Let me just ask this question: do you have less sympathy for, like, let's say that this was a Biden rally and everything happened to Biden, and some innocent Biden bystander got shot? Would you have more sympathy for that person compared to the Trump guy, all other factors being equal?
More sympathy? Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, this is just where we completely differ. I think they are deserving of equal amount of sympathy, unless you find out something crazy about their lives, like they were a pedophile. I don't. I
Even if
just
they were a
this is
pedophile, that
it's
wouldn't
kind of like
change whether or not I
dehumanizing
had
people who
sympathy for
disagree
them.
with you, which is, I think, part of the problem. The left does it, the right does it.
Well, yeah, no, it has to. It was even if they were a pedophile, that wouldn't change whether or not I had sympathy for them getting shot, like out of nowhere. It's just
You would have okay.
it's
You would have as much sympathy for like someone who's a father and is a good person compared to like a fucking pedophile who rapes little children. You would have equal sympathy for them.
well, I mean, the pedophile could also be a father, and if they were also a father and weren't doing anything to their like, yeah, I would. But let's say somebody's like robbing a
Wait,
store,
just
okay?
engage. Just engage in that. Would you
I
have the
did. I
same
said
pedophile?
I wouldn't. I said I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I don't think that I would differentiate these. But the
But you
but
would
the
differentiate between a Trump and a Biden supporter.
yes, and I'm explaining right now. So let's say
That's
somebody's like
crazy.
robbing a store, right? They're looting a store, and They're not like they didn't hurt anybody. They didn't they didn't have a gun. They didn't do anything like that. But somebody pulled out a gun and shot them. Okay. The just the act of them being part of this robbery and just the act of them taking part in this makes us look at this and say, like you're kind of putting yourself in this position by doing this. Like you're kind of like
Do you
choosing to
think
put
Trump
yourself in a
supporters put
position where
themselves in the
this
position of catching a stray bullet?
I'm saying that just by them like supporting somebody who has pushed so many conspiracies, has like really changed what it is that we consider true these days, has like demolished so many institutions within America, like not just democracy, but our entire media system and journalism and all of this shit. Like, I would say that by knowing how divisive he is and how much he has destroyed the institutions in our country, you know people are gunning for him. I would expect the Secret Service to do a better job to where you would probably feel safe being there. But they like I also think that yeah,
I
you
wouldn't
know people are
expect. I
trying to
would not
shoot this dude
expect Trump to be more targeted than Biden. I would actually expect there to be a higher chance of Biden being shot because lefties
because you think
generally
right
are.
wingers are crazier.
The far right wingers, yeah, absolutely. And it seems like from the evidence we have that this guy was not a liberal. He was a far right winger, or he was a right winger who had maybe other issues, but he wasn't. He wasn't like a left leaning person. That's the evidence that we have as of now for this guy.
I
Uh,
just real quick. I just through the research that I've done, it doesn't seem as though we have any indication to his political leanings whatsoever, and
well,
that
I'll
it
give you
may
the
have been
evidence right
that there
now.
was just like it was just mental illness. The guy didn't even seem to have a whole lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
interest in
No, mental illness was
politics.
probably the biggest part of it, but there's three pieces of evidence. Number one is that he registered as a Republican when he was 19. Number two is that he voted Republican shortly after. And number three, according to his classmates, when they did these things in social studies, where they would say like, okay, like if you agree with this, go over there. If you agree with this, over there, he would always take the conservative position. So those are the three pieces of evidence we have.
Yeah, but we also have evidence that he was donating to progressive PACs and
When he was
uh,
18, he donated $16 to something that many people have described as a scam because the way they get you is they send you a thing that makes it look like you have a bill. So we don't even know if he was scammed by them, but they were not like a leftist progressive thing. They were like just like a kind of a scammy super PAC. And again, that's when he was 18. What's more important is what happened more recently. In the 19, he registers as a Republican. He votes as a Republican. I mean, it's not 100% evidence, but it's pretty, I think it's much, much, much more likely that he was on the right than on the left.
um yeah, maybe. I would say that it's leaning that direction, but from the people who were around him, they also said that it didn't seem as though he really was interested in politics
There was one
much, and
person
that
who
he
said that.
was
Only one person said that.
the one person from his school. There were from I can't remember, but there were other people who were interviewed talking about him who also said that he didn't yeah, that he wasn't he didn't have much political leanings. Anyways, the point is it doesn't matter why he did it because
Yeah,
what the
he was
point
he was
is
he was
that
a crazy person. He was a crazy
yeah.
person. Yeah. And but the idea, like again, I'll bring you on in like 2 minutes. Let me just get through this part. I'll bring you on. I'll actually bring on a Trump supporter. But the idea that like, well, the people there, they were, supporting Trump, therefore that I would have less sympathy if they died, is just I think fundamentally wrong. I think their life, because essentially what you're saying is you're not obviously, just to be clear, you're not encouraging violence against them. Neither was Destiny. Destiny wasn't saying, hey guys, maybe go out and shoot these people. He never said that, right? That would have been next fucking level of unhinged, and that would probably cause me to like question my whole friendship with him. He didn't say that. What he was saying is essentially is that like, well, I don't really feel bad for these people because they're supporting Trump, and essentially what that means is their lives are less valuable than the lives of Biden
No,
supporters.
come on,
That's
you keep doing that. That's not the same thing. Whether or not you have sympathy for somebody doesn't say anything as to how valuable their life is whatsoever. It just says that that you don't have sympathy for them. Again, like whether or not somebody dies in Africa doesn't mean that I think that their life is less valuable just because I don't have sympathy or that I don't care at all.
So why would you have less sympathy for a Trump supporter than a Biden supporter?
I don't know that I would have much sympathy whatsoever, but again, but the fact that these people are supporting somebody that is like this divisive and this much of a problem and spreading these many conspiracies and like breaking down these many institutions and all of that, like even just on a pragmatic aspect, I'm not like a hardcore utilitarian like Vosh is, but somebody like Vosh or Hassan would say like, oh, just having one less Trump voter is a utilitarian benefit to us, and so shit like that. Like, but that's very different than like sympathy. It was like how much I feel for these people. It's a
This is the
that just doesn't
comment that
equate to.
I kind of agree with. Not caring is indicating the value placed on the individuals. Okay, can we agree at least on this? That from an okay, so Destiny has said that his goal is to convince people of his beliefs because he believes is right, and that's the goal of a lot of streamers, right?
Mhm.
That what he's doing now is actually going to push people away from his position and instead of bring them in. Like what he, as soon as a Trump supporter hears his rhetoric, they're going to shut down and view him as a crazy liberal and view him as an enemy. And so his rhetoric is doing more harm than good to his cause.
I would say that because he's by himself, that's the only reason that I agree with you. But the way that like morals and like political compasses shift in our country, the way that the Overton window moves is from people finding specific things and shaming those things and stigmatizing those things. And if people were more willing to shame and stigmatize a lot of the messed up things that people on the right are doing, it would probably happen a lot less, and Destiny
Yeah,
wouldn't stick out
we
like a
should
sore
shame
thumb.
and stigmatize hypocrisy and bad ideas. There's a lot of things we should shame and stigmatize about Trump. A lot of things. We should shame the fact that he said that he would suspend the Constitution. We should shame the fact that he refused
Being
to concede the last
anti-vaxxers,
election.
supporting January 6th,
Well,
like the more
Trump
important
did
things like that, shaming
Trump
the
did push
media.
out Operation Warp Speed. So on that one, there's not much ammo.
Wait, but that
Yeah,
doesn't but he was also, because of the way that he was questioning like COVID in the beginning, whether or not it was even real, that's what started the precipice for Trumpers to be so anti everything that the media was saying on vaccines thereafter.
Okay. Yeah. So the I think like okay, like another legitimate thing to criticize him for is, for example, assassinating General Musamani, which led to the death of two American soldiers, two or three, I believe. So there's a lot of things to criticize him for, but this is but criticizing. But what Destiny's doing here is not criticizing. He's literally basically laughing at a tragic event, which is I'm not talking about Trump so much because he's fine talking about the death of an innocent person, another person being injured, and he's brushing it off. He's laughing at it, and that's going to piss off and just draw. That's going to ruin his argument like a lot, and that's
Yeah,
just
I
not
think that
effective.
it'd probably be best if we looked at people who were supporting Trump as people who were Antifa supporters out at like BLM protests. If we looked at
No,
them
I don't think that's how we
similarly,
should look at them at
and
all. I think we
I
should look at them as normal people who have bad ideas, and we should replace those with better ideas. We should engage with them. We should be kind to them, and we should give them better ideas.
yeah, but the point is that that doesn't
Mm,
actually work.
Ariel
That
had
that is
tipped
something that
$2.
Destiny's done
Here are
for a
some
really
things
long
the MAGA
time, and
turds
it
did in
didn't
similar
actually
vein to
seem to do a
Destiny.
whole lot of
Nancy
good.
Pelosi's
But it
husband,
like
George
we
Floyd,
do
a
see a
leftist
lot of
man getting
changes over
ST bed,
people
and the
willing
trans
to
girl that
actually call
passed
people
away.
out, shame certain ideas, stigmatize
There's a
those
lot of people
ideas.
there's some people in this audience that were, like, former conservatives, and they said that, like, "Yeah, you got me to come around." What do you mean? There's a lot of I see in his comments, a
No,
lot of
it
people
works for him to grow an audience. Yes, it doesn't work for like actually making change within the country.
well, I don't well, yeah, but he's relatively small scale at this point, but I don't think that,
Yeah, but
uh
he moved the most amount of conservatives and like de-radicalized the most amount of
yeah,
people by being a fucking
yell
schizo screaming and yelling at alt-righters all the time and debating them on the
I would
internet.
need to
Like,
see some evidence of that. I just do not believe for a second that this kind of strategy will be effective. Again, we can ask Brad, I guess, when he comes on. Let me just quickly address this. Okay, you're categorizing MAGA voters as terrorists or fools. Never said anything about any MAGA voter being terrorists. In fact, I said that you should treat them with kindness and engage with them in the sphere of ideas. I never said they were fools either. I just said they were wrong about something. There's a lot of leftists who are also wrong about shit. You seem to be simping for Destiny. I mean, again, I have largely disagreed with Destiny about 80% of the time throughout this discussion. I don't know why I have to like 100% say he's evil and everything is wrong about him to not be simping. You will not open your mind to January 6th. Uh,
Gay Odyssey is somebody who definitely supports the January 6th, and I would 100% say that people who support January 6th are terrorist sympathizers. Like,
no,
there's no question about that.
I think they're operating on a
There's
different
no
set of
like January 6th 100% to the like there is they are just terrorists. Like there is no difference between somebody who is supporting January
there's a massive
6th
difference.
and
Terrorism involves the murder of innocent civilians for political reasons.
no, it doesn't have to you don't have to murder people. You're striking fear into citizens. Striking fear.
Innocent civilians for political reason.
That is not, bro, look up the definition of terrorism. It has nothing to do with killing. It has to do with like striking fear into people for political reasons. That is, or religious reasons. That is terrorism. It's doing something that is supposed to make people afraid of doing certain things. That is terrorism. This fits the definition of terrorism to a T. There is no difference between this and terrorism.
Yeah, so okay, the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation defines terrorism as an unlawful use of force and violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce the government, the civilian population, or any segment thereof in further of political or social objectives. So okay, I guess we could say coerce, but they weren't targeting. They weren't targeting civilians.
Wait, the hold on. Read that again.
Sure. Unless this is like it could be one of those things. The U.S. Federal Bureau, FBI defines terrorism as unlawful use of force and violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government, the civilian population, or any segment thereof, and further. Okay, if it's I misread that. If it's coerce a government, then yeah, I guess. I feel like colloquially, terrorism isn't really used that way. And again,
It
I
is.
think that
This is terrorism to a T, bro. And anybody who's
well,
justifying this
look.
is a
I think that
terrorist
people
sympathizer.
no, I disagree with that. I don't. I just think they have a different version of reality, and they believe that it was the January
So does
6th was
Al
a
Qaeda. Al Qaeda has a different
peaceful
version of reality too. They're still terrorists. They're still terrorist sympathizers who are supporting them. It's the same.
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No, I just but this logic, like 1/3 of the country would be terrorist sympathizers.
Yes, that's the point. Is that the things are getting
Nah,
so fucking extreme that people on at large scale are becoming terrorist sympathizers. Yes.
no, I disagree with that characterization. I
You
think
can't
that
disagree with it. You just read the definition. It just
I just
is
did.
to a T
Yeah, but
terrorism and
colloquially,
terrorist
that's not how the word
sympathizers.
is used.
That's what
You got
they're find another definition. The colloquial definitions are going to be the same
sure
as
if you
the
want. I
FBI
can.
definitions.
Yeah, we can play the
The
definition
one on
game. Yeah.
Google says the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians in the pursuit of political aims. This is the
Well,
colloquial definition. The one
specifically
on
civilians,
Wikipedia
right?
is, in its broadest sense, it is the use of violence against non-combatants to achieve political or ideological aims. Like all of these are going to fit what it is that was done on January
No,
6th. There is no
not the
definition that
definition.
will not fit.
No, you said this is just as Canada?
What?
What website are you talking about?
I just read Google and Wikipedia to get the
Okay.
most colloquial definitions we could possibly get. Um, because Google uses Oxford Dictionary, and Oxford is giving their first definition as the colloquial definition every time. So
Okay, sure. Let me just find the definition of mine. 1 second, I'll find you another one. And then we'll bring Brad on. Okay, let's go to Merriam-Webster. The use of violent acts to frighten the people in the area as a way of driving to achieve a political goal. So when they say people, they mean civilians. Uh, there was no use of violent acts to frighten people. There was some violence that took place, but it was to intimidate elected officials and not civilians. But anyway, let me bring Brad on. Brad, put up two fingers so I know you're real. Okay. Hey, what's up?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
I
All right,
can't I
man.
can't do anything about the lighting, but
You're a terrorist sympathizer. So why is that?
I just think this conversation got so off track. I mean, we're talking
Okay, yeah.
about
Just talk about whatever you want to talk about.
yeah, so many irrelevant things got brought up. We're talking about Trump almost got killed. Someone in the audience did get killed, and I think two other people got injured. And we're talking about should people be laughing and celebrating that? And I don't
Uh,
know. This guy's bringing up so many other things,
Well,
which I
that's
no,
like you
all
for.
of
absurd.
these
Like
things are
no,
relevant because we're
but
talking about whether or not you would sympathize with terrorist sympathizers. That's what we're talking about. We're saying, hey, would you feel super bad if somebody was out here justifying 9/11 and what Al Qaeda's doing, and then you
you mean
find
like
out that they
Hassan did?
got
You
shot
mean
by
like
a
Hassan?
stray bullet somewhere while supporting Al Qaeda?
You mean like
Or
Hassan did?
sorry, like who?
Hassan.
I can't hear
Who?
you.
Hassan.
Hassan?
Hassan?
Yeah, sure. Yes, I 100% think Hassan is a
Yeah.
terrorist sympathizer for sure. 100%.
Most people hate Hassan, including people on the left.
True. Well, I hear him. We can get to January 6th, but I think the main thing of the argument is I hear people keep saying
It's better
Trump.
actually if you avoid January 6th because that could get me demonetized. I mean, if you guys really want to talk
That
about
just
it,
proves the whole point right there.
what do,
Like,
what do you
this
mean?
guy is talking about, and I like Tom, but you're talking about, how, like, there's topics Alex cannot even talk about on YouTube.
No, I can totally talk about it. I'll just get demonetized.
That proves the whole point, brother.
Well, no, but there's
Well,
other like
but
for
let's
example, when I do
go ahead.
no, hang on, well, let me just answer that. When I do a stream that's like where there's sexual content that gets demonetized, there's a lot of other things that will get me demonetized besides January 6th. It's not
Okay.
the only thing. So
Okay. Well,
I,
I think
it just
I
seems
think
that like wait, just the explanation for that is that it seems like a lot of advertisers are just don't want to be associated with that because it's so controversial. It's not like some kind of top-down conspiracy. Oh, radical coders here. Hey,
What up, gang?
what up, bro?
all right. So
I think the
what were you saying, bro?
conversation just got so off topic, man. Like, I think the main point is I'm hearing a
I
lot
know
of
you said
people.
that a few times. Bring it on topic though.
Yeah, well, let me say it. The main point is a lot of people are saying Trump talks a lot of shit. He said a lot of mean things. He's an asshole. He's this and that. Therefore, he deserves to get shot in the head, and we should laugh and celebrate. What kind of logic is that?
Well, that's not my position
No,
at
that's
all.
not yours. I appreciate your position, but I'm saying some people on the left, that is their position. What kind of logic is that?
I don't think it's so much. Let me just clarify. I don't think it's so much that he deserves to be shot. Although with some people, I do get that vibe. It's more of that, like, well, we don't feel any sympathy if he does get shot because he's such a piece of shit. That's the position of some people, in my opinion. But Radical and Tom can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, no, that's been my position. And I do think that there's a fine line there where we are looking at somebody who has like destroyed the country to such an extent that revolutions at some point might be completely justified. Um, even if that, I am not make currently, even if I could, I'm not making that argument. I'm more so just saying that like whether or not people feel bad for folks in these scenarios is going to be very different than whether or not they're like justifying the act in and of itself.
Okay, I can understand that. So you're saying you would condemn the act, but you wouldn't emotionally feel bad because you don't particularly like Trump.
Yeah, I don't think that we should justify actions like that whatsoever because, yeah, it's only going to encourage more and more crazy people to go out and do insane things like that. And I definitely do not think that that's a good idea.
Okay, I understand that. But there is a difference between not having a strong emotional reaction because you don't like Trump versus getting online and laughing and celebrating and saying, "Oh, that guy should have went to the shooting range more." oh, that guy
Yeah.
should have took a better shot.
Yes, I do think saying you should have gone to the shooting range more is like right there on the edge of actually supporting acts of terrorism and something like that. And I do think that he's wrong for
On
that.
the
And I
edge?
would say that he's
On the
definitely
edge?
wrong in like the same tweet where he was talking about the fact that like conservatives are always laughing at people when on leftists who die and like making fun of them. But yet I think people on the left do that
That is
100
true.
times more than everybody on the right. Like the people on the left have been laughing at every right winger that dies every single time, no matter what. The congressman who got COVID and died, the crap. I'm blanking on the Rush Limbaugh when he died, like all of these people when they die, the Queen when she died, like every time somebody dies that they don't like, they all jump up and down and celebrate it.
Wait,
So
who, the liberals or
it
the
doesn't.
conservatives?
Liberals do it all the fucking
Oh,
time. Like they are doing it
I-
so much more than right wingers. It doesn't
no,
make
I think-
sense to.
I disagree. I totally disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think they both do it a lot, but if I had to pick, I think conservatives do it more. I mean, you saw like Fox News, like which is a mainstream news
shot.
outlet, was shitting on, was making fun of Paul Pelosi when he almost got killed. Yeah. What are you denying that happened?
They were, yes, but I'm saying that like it has been a norm for lefties to do this for a very long time, and it's only more recently that right wingers are doing this more often.
Wait,
but like for the most part, they've been the ones saying like, well, it doesn't matter who does.
Real quick, when we say lefties, do you mean like mainstream?
I'm talking about everybody on the left. Everybody on the left.
Talking about just random people on YouTube because there's a big.
Talking about everybody on the left.
Okay, are we included just random like YouTube channels that have like 5,000 subscribers?
I'm talking about like what we would find trending on Twitter or
Are there like mainstream liberals who are who are like making these jokes though? Because like that's the difference I think is that like we have Donald Trump first of all, like obviously like he is the Republican Party like for all intents and purposes, and also again like Fox News pundits who are like laughing at Paul Pelosi for literally some insane person tried to take a hammer to his head and they're joking about it and Trump was joking about it, and like that's I mean are there any examples of like mainstream liberal commentators saying the same thing, or is it mostly like online stuff?
No, it's it's definitely mostly online stuff. I mean, what we would call mainstream at this point is a little bit blurry because outlets like TYT and the Progressive Voice and that's not the right word. Like Kyle Kulinski, like all of these different like outlets
even people like that. Kyle Kulinski,
Hassan Piker.
Hassan Piker is just a fucking weirdo with an exception. But people like TYT and Kyle Kulinski, I've never seen them laugh at anyone's tragedy and downfall. I've never seen that. I watch both of those channels. But yeah, like I think there's a difference also between a mainstream. When we say mainstream, typically we associate that with Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, and stuff like that. And I do think there's a difference between Fox News making fun of someone's tragedy and like someone like Hassan, who's not, on network TV, who's not like really, anything to do with the mainstream,
people on TYT were laughing at all sorts of tragedies all the time. They were laughing at the girl who got her bike stolen, calling her racist Karen and saying that she was definitely racist. They were saying that they wished Kyle Rittenhouse had been. They were saying that they wished Kyle Rittenhouse had been killed and that he should have been shot. Like there were all sorts of examples around that time.
More memes about the people that Kyle Rittenhouse. I still see memes constantly about the people, about how they're pedophiles and how they deserve to be shot, about all this stuff, like this insane shit about Kyle all the time. Like people are always joking about the people that Kyle Rittenhouse killed. How he was pedophile hunting is how they frame it. Like, and I see this shit all the time.
It is dumb to call it pedophile hunting because he didn't know that they were pedophiles at the time, so it's a little weird and it's not part of a justification. But it did turn out that they did have like past criminal records and that they did have these issues, and they were people who deserved to be shot because of the way that they were approaching him and coming after him and trying to hurt him. So like even just on the fact that they were just dumb enough to come after him and try to hurt somebody with a fucking AR-15 in their hands like was already enough for me to kind of laugh at how dumb they were to do it.
Well, I agree it was stupid, but I mean, frankly, also they didn't know that he just had a justified shooting. They just know that he was shooting people. So I mean, to be fair, like it could be argued that like in their minds they thought they were doing the right thing by like trying to stop this guy from shooting more people. But it's obviously like with a full context, we have a different picture of that. But ZJK also brought up a great point. Like conservatives are always we're constantly making fun of George Floyd and still deny like that he was killed. It's like conservatives like still argue like that. I mean, obviously Candace Owens or Candace Owens, but a million other people run around saying that he like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's in Congress, was literally just saying like a day or two ago that that George Floyd died because of a drug overdose. No, he didn't. He died because that fucking cop put his fucking knee on his neck.
That's I agree with you, Radical, but that is contested. That is contested. I have looked at the
it's
evidence.
not really contested. It is what like there were two different reports. One of them said that it was a combination of the knee and the drugs. The other one said it was just the knee. So it's not really there's there's not a contesting that where it said it was a drug overdose. There is nothing
the
that
reason the reason the right dismisses that is because that one was done, I believe, privately, was commissioned privately, and so versus the other one was done.
Sure, but neither one of them said it was a drug overdose, and so that's the
gaslighting. I think they want. I think it's crazy making behavior. They act like you're crazy if you think it's reasonable. The coroner reports that these things. Excuse me, I can't fucking talk. It's been a while since I've been on stream. That these reports show clearly that he died because this guy had his knee on his neck. And if you watch the video, it's very obvious what's going on here. Like it's no shock that he died from that. You know, like I don't know.
We're getting too off topic on George Floyd.
Well, we're not. I think it is on the reason I think it's on point is because the whole thing that Destiny's pointing out is that like people are refusing to acknowledge that like there was this insurrection, that Trump is this authoritarian fucking fascist insane person that led a coup on the US government, and then they're acting like it's insane that someone might. It is fucked up. I'm not saying do it, obviously it's fucked up and stupid and it's gonna make things worse if people go do this, but like the idea that no one is gonna be crazy like this one guy after shit like this going on is it's just insane to pretend otherwise.
Yeah, and the hypocrisy on the George Floyd line is a good point.
Yeah, but Radical, do you think he got shot because of his actions, or do you think he got shot because there's this one fucking insane dude?
It was one insane radicalized person.
Hold on, wait. It's neither one of those things. It's because the Secret Service didn't do a good job, because if there wasn't protection at every single one of these things, there would probably be a shooting at every single one of these things.
We don't know yet. Yeah. If it seems like they were incompetent, but we don't 100% know that.
No, dude, they were incompetent as fuck.
No, they were incompetent.
Tom made a good point. Dude, I don't even care about this kid because he's shot. Like, he's dead. Who cares if he's Democrat or Republican? What the
no one cares about him, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. The bottom line is there's so many different theories, but it doesn't matter which theory you go with. The Secret Service is fucking useless. They let him get shot.
They also jumped. They also wait. Hang on, Brad. What you said is really.
No, it doesn't, dude. What kind
of
logic is that? Yeah, they
wait, hang on. Because that after that guy pulled the trigger, he was dead within like a few seconds because of the Secret Service counter snipers. If the counter snipers weren't there, this guy would have re-rolled and kept shooting. So no, they're not. And then also the other Secret Service jumped on Trump to protect him. So if the Secret Service was not there, then Trump would have likely died. Yeah, because the counter snipers got this guy.
Alex, let me break this down.
No, because it took them at least 2 minutes to actually react. They had a full 2 minutes of them knowing that the sniper was on the roof. That's a fact.
Yeah, not only that, but just the fact that somebody was able to get on the roof in the first place is already a massive lapse in judgment. The fact that you could even have a clear shot, like a sight from that roof to where Trump is standing is a massive lapse in judgment. The fact that there weren't a ton of guards already standing around that building in the first place, stopping anybody from getting on top of there, or the fact that there weren't already guards with guns sitting on top of there in the first place. Like, there were just a million problems with this.
Yeah, most likely, I agree with you. Most likely, there was an incompetence element to it.
But it seems more than just incompetence. It seems more like a complicity.
You don't. Okay,
no,
let's wait, hang on. One at a time. there's a big difference between complicity and incompetence. The complicity thing, the incompetence thing, I think definitely has a lot of merit to it. And I wouldn't be surprised if once the report comes out that they will show that there was incompetence.
Well,
Complicity,
you're going to have to say that all the cops were just incompetent. Like none of them were able to call, command and say, "Hey, get the president off
okay,
the
hang on,
goddamn
hang on, hang
stage."
on.
Wait, you keep saying that there was
Police
2 full minutes.
officers
Hang on.
were warned.
You keep saying there were 2 full minutes where they knew that he was on. I don't think that's true. I think people were trying to
No,
get their
it's
attention.
little
I don't think
video.
the
Little
people who
video
saw
that
him.
No, they got a
I
local
don't think they
police's
actually had their attention.
they got a local police
Yeah, they did
officer's
have their
attention,
They knew
and then
that.
2
No,
minutes
hang on,
later,
Tom.
the
He's
shots
partially
started going
correct.
off.
They knew that there was someone on the roof, but they didn't know if it was someone who's a threat to the president. The problem is that they had multiple agencies that day. They had the Secret
They
Service.
told him he
They
had a
had, well, hang
gun.
on,
They
let
were
me finish.
perfectly
Let me
clear.
finish. They
Yeah,
had
let Alex finish.
they had Secret Service, they had FBI, they had local police department, and I don't know if a few other ones. So I think what happened is the Secret Service wasn't sure if this person there just belonged to another agency, because if they kill a friendly, that's their life that's going to be in jail for the rest of their life. So they were a little maybe overly cautious, right? That's number one. And number two, they just didn't have enough information to take that shot yet, and they're making a decision. Again, you could argue they should have fallen on their feet a lot faster, and you're probably going to be correct about that.
Well, no,
So,
it's just negligence
so,
across the board. The fact
so
that they
there,
didn't have all of these things
there's
done in the
logical
first place
explanations
is
for
negligent.
why they waited to take the shot. Now, then once the guy started shooting, they killed him. The counter snipers killed him within seconds.
No, dude, you realize they literally like
That could
clear
be
out
too late.
entire fucking cities just for a motorcade to come rolling through. They will literally tackle people who come within like 50 feet of these fucking cars that are bulletproof and have 100 guards around them and everything. They will literally fuck you up for just looking at these cars, dude. The fact that somebody is sitting up there with a rifle very visibly in their hand, you shoot them immediately. You shoot them right away and ask questions later. This is how they
Alex,
always
Well, no,
operate.
but if it's another law
Alex,
enforcement agent, then you
Yeah.
don't shoot them first, because then you're going to go to jail for the rest of your life.
Yeah, Alex,
I don't think
Alex
anybody
touched on
was
something.
confused about whether or not he was law enforcement. I don't
Exactly.
think they were
Everybody knew
confused.
this
So
guy
Tom, why do
was-
you think they didn't shot him? Do you also believe that
I
they
don't
were
think that they
complicit?
saw him. I don't think that they saw him. I think that the local law enforcement saw him, but I don't think Secret Service saw him until like right when he started shooting.
That's possible.
There's no excuse for Secret Service. If you're supposed to be the best security group in the world, and you didn't see
Any mistakes ever.
you didn't
It's
see
not so much that they
didn't see a
didn't shoot him
kid
before he shot
on a
Trump.
roof
It's that they
150
didn't
feet
take
away.
Trump off the stage when they had plenty of time and they were warned about this. So to say, all these cops on the ground who all have walkie-talkies were just being, just dumb and couldn't figure it out. It reeks more of complicity
So
than
just to be
being
clear, you're
ignorant.
accusing the Secret Service of organizing an assassination against the president and being complicit in it intentionally not stopping this guy because they wanted him to shoot the president. That's what you're saying.
I mean,
saying
how
it's a possibility.
how long can you be ignorant to this
Just be
danger?
fair.
2 full minutes of being just
Can you say
ignorant
yes to that? Can you just say yes to that?
to what?
That you're saying that the Secret Service was complicit explicitly. They were aware that there was a guy trying to kill the president, and they did not want to stop him from doing that.
I'm saying
He's saying
it
it's
reeks
possible.
more of complicity than it does of ignorance.
Okay, let me explain why that's
I'll
silly.
wait for the investigation for that. Yeah.
So first of all, I think the right position. I think it's fun to speculate, but I think the correct position, if we're being serious, is to wait for the report to come out and really let the investigation take place, because we're going to discover a lot more facts.
We
as this-
investigated ourselves and we found ourselves to be not guilty. Yeah, hooray.
It's not the Secret Service that's
Yeah,
investigating themselves. It's going to be other
It's
And,
like-
agencies.
and who- and where do you
still-
think
but
these
it's
orders
still-
came
it's
from?
still-
Do you
it's
think these
still the
orders came from the
government
bottom or did they
investigating
came
the
from the top?
Well,
It's a government.
I don't
agency
believe. Wait, hang
investigating
on.
a
I
government
don't
agency.
believe that this is an organized conspiracy to
No, but
assassinate the
it
president.
doesn't matter either way.
The
It
Secret
doesn't
Service
matter,
is
bro.
gonna-
What
Well,
difference
it
does
would
make?
matter. There's
It
just
does
no
make a
evidence
difference.
to say that it is. Like it
But let me
definitely would
explain-
matter if
let
it
me-
was, but
Let me
beg to
explain
differ.
why. Wait, hang on. Let me explain to you why the conspiracy angle is silly. Because I think that if the government wanted to assassinate the former president, they would get someone who's better than this guy and give him a better weapon. This guy got literally kicked out of rifle club for being such a bad shot. I think they would get someone who actually knows how to fire a rifle, and they will give him a much better weapon to use for an assassination. I believe he used an AR-15, which is horrible for these circumstances from every friend I have that owns guns. So they probably would have armed him better and not just hit his ear. They would have probably given, they would probably hired someone that's better, and they would have probably given them better weapons. So that's
I agree. I don't think they hired this guy, but I think they were aware that this guy might have attempted this, and this is why they decided. This is
Why
what
they
the
aware of that?
Biden administration decided to lower the security on not just Trump.
They ramped
I
up
think-
security before this.
No, they
Because of
lowered their
their-
security.
Yeah.
No, they ramped it up. They added security
no,
to this.
Trump asked for more security, and they denied them the more security.
That's not true. That is not true. They added more security to
Yeah,
this.
wrong.
They've already
Only
proven
after
this.
the
Trump was
shooting?
wrong.
No,
Trump did say
before
that.
the
You are
shooting.
correct. No, before the shooting, days before, 1 week before this, Trump did say that they asked for security and that they didn't get it. But it's already been proven that they asked for security and that they were given double security a week before this.
Wait,
Well-
double? What does that mean? What do you mean by double? Because double.
They
could just mean
doubled the
we just
manpower.
added
They
4 more
they
people.
doubled the manpower and they gave them
Yeah,
more
yeah.
resources
That
for
could
this.
just mean 4
They
more
not
people.
just in
But what-
manpower, but they also gave them more like utilities, like drones
but
and guns and all sorts of other shit.
Were they given the amount that they were requesting for? So just saying doubling, well, that could just mean they added 4 more people.
I don't know, but to say that you asked for more security and you didn't get it is already
Yeah,
wrong,
just-
one way or the
I
other.
could ask for double. That doesn't meet the request I have made. So if I'm asking for security to meet the the situation, and you just double it, that's still not going to meet the situation.
I understand. I'm saying that either way, to say that you asked for more and you didn't get it is still incorrect, one way or the other, because you got more.
The
In a
bottom
softest
line,
kind of way,
bottom line-
yes.
Hold on. The bottom line is that Secret Service allowed Trump to get shot in the head, and there's no excuse for that. That's the bottom line.
Oh my God, they didn't allow him. There was
Yes, they
incompetence.
did.
there.
Incompetence
That
by
is
ass.
incompetence
Yes,
is
they
the
allowed it by
allowing
being
of it. They
incompetent.
didn't make it
Alex, how
happen,
would
but
you
they did
feel
allow for it to
if your
happen.
security team came up and said, "Hey, Alex, we're really sorry we let you get shot in the head today, but we'll do better tomorrow."
Well, first of all, he didn't get shot in the head. He got shot in the ear, and it
That was a
obviously
headshot.
helped his
Oh, that's so
political
much
career.
better, Alex. Only 1 inch from death.
Well,
Wow.
well,
Great
your
job.
ear is part of
It
your
is-
head.
well, it is a lot better. One would have killed him, and one is going to help his political career.
Do
I
you
think
realize
that-
it's a headshot?
And did the Secret
Your
Service
ear
have
is part of
anything
your
to do with
head.
that?
Like,
Did they
it's-
use magic powers to stop the bullet midair from going
Do,
through his
do you think if Trump was given the option to travel back in time and prevent the whole thing, he would do it?
Honestly, no. I would
Exactly. Okay, argument
No.
over.
But that still doesn't excuse the Secret Service.
I'm not
I
trying to
don't know
excuse
what-
the Secret Service at all.
Because
I think
I'm saying out of
Using them.
all the theories, whether Secret Service tried to kill him or they turned a blind eye and allowed this guy to climb the roof, or they're just
Wait,
dumb
hang
as
on. There's a
fuck
big.
and didn't have a clue.
Brad,
Either
Brad,
way,
Brad.
they still let him get shot.
Okay, Brad, there's a big difference between letting the guy do something and just not realizing the guy was there.
Yes,
One-
I agree. There's a big
One
difference.
involves a
but they're
conspiracy to assassinate a former president.
They
One of
knew
them
the guy
is
was
just
there.
incompetence. I think that there's no real evidence right now at this point in time.
If
at
there's
all.
real evidence, a whole
Bro,
2 minutes,
what I'm
that's the
saying is-
evidence.
That's
I agree.
okay. That's
there's-
not
I
an
agree
evidence.
there's a
How do you
difference,
know
but-
that's?
That is
How do
evidence.
you? How do you know? Wait, how do you know
It's
that's
literally on
deliberate?
camera.
And that's not incompetence. Just explain that to me.
Okay, you're
What?
telling me that the cop's getting a full 2 minutes of
Just
a
answer
head-
my
of a
question.
head-
Just
I'm
wait,
answering.
hang on. Don't
I'm-
answer.
He
my
is saying
question
that
with a
it's
question.
incompetence. He is saying it's incompetent.
Yeah, you're saying it's incompetence. I'm saying they're complicit. A full
Okay.
2 minutes of all the cops just being ignorant.
Well,
and ridiculous.
incompetence can
Am
make
I-
you
am I
really
complicit.
answering my
That
question?
doesn't
My question is-
differentiate it.
So simple. How do you know? Give me the evidence that these extra 2 minutes were a result of a deliberate conspiracy to kill Trump and not just pure incompetence. Explain this to me.
feeling.
Okay, so you're taking the position that the cops were just playing around being stupid for a
I'm
whole 2
asking you a
minutes.
simple question.
I'm clarifying your position, right? You're taking the position that the cops
we
were
turn
being
him up?
stupid for a whole 2
We're actually doing
minutes
the opposite.
and weren't
of
able to
clarifying.
communicate to get Trump off the stage. Is
My,
that
my
your actual
position is irrelevant. I'm just asking you a question.
I just want to make sure that's your stupid position.
What do you think my position is?
That
We're asking
the
about your
cops are being
position,
stupid
dude.
for a whole
Darth, can
2
you turn
minutes.
yourself up? I can barely hear you.
Let me see if I'm not sure because I'm using one of those cheap gamer headsets.
Yeah, I don't understand because one is worse than the other, but they're both fucking terrible. Like they're both.
Well, they're totally different, Brad.
They're very different things, though. Yeah,
very
I
different.
just And I want to make sure, because even what Darth is saying
yeah.
doesn't differentiate it from what you're saying, Alex. Like, he's saying that they're complicit, but the fact that, like, you can be complicit in something happening because of incompetence. Like, if I'm supposed to guard a door and I don't guard the door, and then bad guys come in through the door, I am complicit in that happening now because of my incompetence.
No, I think
Complicit if you don't report it when you were told.
Right. That like, exactly.
one,
and this is
one
that's
involves
what I'm saying is
motive.
that these
One
are not.
involves a motive to assassinate the former president, and one is just not doing your job properly.
Well,
They
no,
are quite
complicit,
different.
not with complicity, though. That's what I'm saying, is that he's saying
They're
complicit,
involved in
and
the
I'm
same.
saying with being complicit just means that you took part in this happening. And if you were negligent in your actions, then you did take part in this happening. And so I'm saying, I don't even
I
know
use the
that
word
Darth
complicit
has like a
differently, but
big difference.
let me just use more clear language. When I say complicit in it, I mean like having having a motive.
He's saying
be
complicit. I'm asking
cognizant.
him to
I
differentiate
know.
it.
I'm saying be cognizant and have a motive to assassinate the former president. That's very different from just not realizing you made a mistake.
Yes,
So
I
I'm
understand.
gonna
And
ask
I'm saying I want Darth to actually make sense of what he's saying when he says complicit.
Well, I just want him to answer my
Allowing it
question
to happen.
first, which I've asked like 3 times.
Yes,
So
but
if
you're
they're
asking him
allowing-
for a full
allowing it to
conspiracy, and
happen,
I'm
they're
saying
complicit.
before he even says that, we would need to know if he actually believes in a conspiracy or if he's just saying they're complicit because they were
I think
negligent.
he does.
An assassination on Trump was kind of obvious. That they tried it this way, it's kind of awkward because I would think they're going to try to poison him. It's obvious that you guys don't want Trump to be president because it's
True.
basically the end.
Different people don't either. That's why they voted against him twice.
So Darth, do you think that there was an
Just answer the
actual
question.
conspiracy for them? Do you think that like the Secret Service
Well,
had a motive
everybody
for Trump
conspires.
to die? I'm trying to act like we've been asking this for like 5 minutes now though, and you haven't given a simple answer yet. So we're trying to understand.
Yeah,
Do you
I
believe
said-
that there was a conspiracy for the Secret Service had motive for Trump to get shot?
I believe there was complicity from certain members. Not all
bro,
members.
seriously, you got to stop changing the words. I'm asking, like, it's a yes or no question.
I
Do
haven't
you
changed the
believe
words.
the Secret Service had motive?
Because
we,
haven't changed
yes,
the
he,
word.
but he's just repeating himself, and I've already explained that
bro,
he's
he's
not
saying the same
differentiating
thing.
this.
Do you think that at least one or more of the Secret Service agent deliberately wanted Trump to die and acted in that fashion?
Yes.
Yeah, let him get out
Okay.
more than 5
Okay.
words.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Why do you believe it?
So then the follow-up
Okay,
question.
so yeah,
hang on,
so
I
now
want-
explain the
I
conspiracy.
want to get an answer to this. So when
It's
I
obvious.
asked you, it's obvious it's not proof, but okay. When I asked you earlier,
Two whole minutes says otherwise.
what is the evidence? You said the extra 2 minutes. So then my follow-up question, I want you to answer this directly and not just go on a tangent. How do you know that those extra 2 minutes that you're referencing were a result of a deliberate plan to assassinate the president and not just incompetence?
It was
Okay,
3 to
so
4.
there's only 2 positions here. You're either gonna have to say that the cops were just ignorant for a whole 2 minutes and couldn't communicate with one another to get the president off the stage.
Yeah, a lot of cops do their job, true.
Or you're gonna have to say, they deliberately allowed this shooter.
None of
to do
this
what
is
he
an
did.
answer to my question. I'm just going to keep repeating the question until you
Yeah,
answer.
it's
Yeah.
a 2 positions here. There's only 2 positions, correct?
It's actually
Right,
it's
he's
actually not
asking
just that.
you
That's
about
not
your
there either.
position. He's asking
Just
you
answer
about
the
your
No,
question.
position.
I just want to make sure that you are taking.
No,
you
no,
guys
just-
are taking the position.
You don't need to make
that the
sure of
cops
anything.
are-
Just
were
answer the
being
question.
stupid
It's
for
a very
whole 2
simple
minutes.
question.
But yeah, it's a very simple question. And I'm making sure the audience understands that this is your position and that this is my position.
Okay, just
So
answer the
your
question, and then
guys'
you can talk to the audience.
Yeah, my position is that it was a deliberate attempt at an assassination. It's
That's
clear.
not what I asked you.
Eh,
Not what I asked you.
Everybody agrees on
you
that.
already told me.
Exactly what
You
you're
already told me.
Darth.
I'm going to repeat it one more time. You already told me deliberately that it was deliberately an attempt to kill the president. I asked you, what is the evidence for that? You said, well,
2 whole
that
minutes.
extra 2 minutes. Right. I remember this. And then I asked you, how do you know those extra 2 minutes were a result of a deliberate attempt to kill the president and not just incompetence? That's what I want to get an answer.
Because you're gonna have to take one of 2 positions.
Oh
like
my
my voice?
goodness, Darth!
Well,
You
what
seriously,
you don't
bro,
like
you
about
got to
the
answer the
You're
question,
talking
dude.
to the wall.
You seriously,
You
you
don't
got to
like
answer
that
the
you have
question, bro.
position that the
You're
cops
not
will just
answering the
ignore for
question.
a whole
All
2
right,
minutes?
hold on. Just let me explain.
You've been
Okay,
dodging this question
okay,
for
so
5
hold on.
minutes.
So Darth is
I'm not
saying
dodging.
that Darth is saying that because he won't answer, so I will answer for him. He is saying that it's impossible for him to believe that they were so incompetent that they weren't able to get Trump off stage with 2 minutes of warning, that it's impossible for him to believe that they were that negligent, that he has to believe that they were in on it and that they purposefully allowed this to happen. That's what he said.
I believe
Yes.
that. And you believe that
Yes, that's the answer that you should have given.
Okay,
for a whole
so
2
Tom
minutes
was able
and
to
weren't able to
actually
communicate with each other.
answer the
That's your
question
position.
that I asked you. So is that accurate summary of what Tom
Yes.
said?
Yes,
Okay.
that is an accurate summary.
So you think there's no way cops could be negligent for 2 minutes, right?
And you think they can be negligent for a whole 2 minutes?
Absolutely.
So if they, Darth, if it was reported to the Secret Service, if all those people with their cameras saying, hey, there's a guy on the building, if they were saying that to the Secret Service, I would take the same position as you. I would say, no, there's no fucking way. No fucking way they took 2 minutes to get him off stage. But because it went to the local police, they told the local police about this. And it seems as though the local police, one, didn't really know what they were doing. Two, didn't have communication with the Secret Service. They didn't have radios to contact them. They didn't have ways to get in touch with them. That
they don't have cell phones or walkie-talkies.
We don't even know. They had walkie-talkies, but not walkie-talkies that communicated with the Secret Service. And even if they have cell phones, we don't know that they have their cell phone numbers. Like, we don't know that they're able to get in touch with those people. So, and if they did, it would totally make sense that it might take 2 minutes to do so. That they would have to, this one cop has to.
It took 2 minutes for them to find their walkie-talkies, folks.
No, wait, hold on, Darth. You completely ignored what I just said. Hold on, Darth, you just ignored what I just said. Darth, no, Darth, no, that's not what I said, Darth. I don't know if you're deaf. I'm going to repeat this, okay? What I said was their walkie-talkies do not communicate with the Secret Service. You heard me this time, right? Their walkie-talkies
with the Secret Service either way.
On their walkie-talkies? With what? With what? No. Wait, with what, Darth? With what, Darth? With what? What do they? How? No, answer the question. What communication did they have with the Secret Service, Darth? They didn't have communication with the walkie-talkies. What communication did they have with the Secret Service?
They forgot to get the walkie-talkies at Walmart.
Wait, how do you know? Yeah, like this is.
You guys, you can't answer a question. You literally can't. It's impossible, dude.
I'm going to ask you such a simple question, and please don't dodge or deflect or do one of your weird shit. How do you know? What is the evidence that the police had direct communication with the Secret Service through the walkie-talkies? Just answer me.
It's literally their job to have.
That's not an answer to the question.
Oh my goodness, you literally can't. He can't answer a question.
You
can't answer a question.
How do you think they work? How do you think the Secret Service?
He's unable to. He's literally incapable. He's literally incapable. He can't answer a question. He doesn't know how to do it.
To secure perimeter.
Wait, just answer my question. Don't answer with a question. Just answer the question I'm asking you.
That's literally their job, man.
Oh my goodness, he can't do it. He can't do it. He can't do it. He can't do it.
It's the job of the police to communicate.
He's trolling at this point.
No, they're supposed
he's trolling.
Why, hold on, Darth. Why would the police and the Secret Service be working together and not have a way to communicate with each other?
I know exactly, right? That's what
Brad, you're giving us more reasons for why they're incompetent. We all agree they're incompetent. We don't need more reasons for why they're incompetent.
It's absurd to think they don't have communication with one another.
No, hold on. To say that none of them have, Brad, sorry, Darth. To say that none of them have communication with one another, I would agree. But that's why I said when it comes to like having to use cell phones to get in contact with each other, I think it would make sense at that point that it might take 2 minutes. So if this guy has to call his sergeant to tell his sergeant to get in contact with somebody with the Secret Service, to tell the Secret Service now that they have to get Trump off stage, then at that point, yeah, it might make sense that it actually would take 2 minutes. But to say that
Even-
each and every single one of
even
them
if
is
that was
able
the
to
case, a whole 2
contact the
minutes,
Secret
no.
Service,
A
no
phone
shot.
call doesn't take a whole 2
Wait,
minutes.
do you think that the
No,
the
3
Navy
phone calls,
SEALs-
Darth. 3 phone calls, Darth.
3
Not
phone
a
calls.
phone call. 3 phone calls.
He's mad.
Okay, Darth, do you think that and this is also for Brad, do you think the Navy SEALs have communication with the Army unit that's placed in their area?
Only if they're doing a joint
They
venture.
should.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if they're
they
doing a
should,
joint
right?
venture, if they're
Right.
doing a joint venture like I know Delta Force and the
Right.
Marines,
They're doing a joint venture. So why is it that what's his name? Kyle, that famous sniper, American sniper guy. Why is it that he came this close to shooting an army soldier due to a lack of communication? Because he thought it was an enemy, and it was just through really just massive luck that basically his commander, Jocko Willing, told him to stand down based on the gut feeling he had, and then he called the army directly, and turns out they had a unit there.
Are you talking about? Are you talking about in the Middle East, in the middle of a war zone?
Exactly.
Is that where this took place?
How would that change the communication?
Those are apples to oranges. You're talking about in the middle of a war zone. Yeah, I can see it being more difficult to communicate in the middle of a war zone than in Pennsylvania and
Broad
rural
daylight.
Pennsylvania.
Freaking rooftops.
Okay, so
Why
just
is
what the question would be for you, Brad, too. What
Yeah,
is
it's
the
a little more
evidence?
difficult to communicate when you're in the Middle East with people trying to kill you, trying to shoot at you, than in the middle of Pennsylvania.
No, it
I
wasn't. It
agree.
wasn't. It wasn't the fact that they couldn't that there was too much background noise or something like that. It was simply they didn't have communication with that specific unit, and that's what caused the whole thing to almost go sideways, where friendly almost got killed. Okay, fine. I'll just grant you the fact that whatever, it's a different analogy, blah blah blah. Even though I don't think it's that different. Once again, the question I would have for you is, what is the evidence that you have that the police were directly communicating with the Secret Service that way? Because there's been a lot of incidents that I've read about where 2 different departments do not communicate with each other, where the FBI is not communicating with the local police, where the what's it called, DHS is not communicating with DEA, whatever. So what's the evidence that this one day that the Secret Service was directly communicating with the police?
Yeah, you guys might be correct about that. I'm agnostic on that. Like, I'm not having that debate. All I'm saying is all roads lead back to the same place, that the Secret Service is fucking useless. Trump should not trust them with his life.
Well, Trump,
Well,
after
it
this whole
wasn't
thing
the
happened,
Secrets.
came out and thanked them and said how grateful he is for them.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Oh, what a cunt.
That's just the right move to do. But I mean, like I said,
It's
if you have a
clear
security
somebody in
team
the
that
upper
lets you get
management
shot
is
in the ear,
compromised.
you're gonna say, "Oh, they did such a great job because they grabbed me after I got shot in the ear."
And they
Well,
killed the guy that
yeah, the Secret
Yeah,
Service
that's all good stuff. But let me ask you this:
he's
if the
dead. He doesn't
bullet
have
had been,
It's
that's all
essential
good,
stuff.
okay, that's all good stuff. What they did after the fact is good stuff. But if the bullet had been 1 inch a different direction and blew Trump's head off on live television, would you still be saying the Secret Service did a good job because afterwards they jumped on Trump's dead
I
body?
never said. Wait, hang
did a
on.
good job.
It is very
Let's not
self-serving,
let's
isn't
not
it?
straw man. No one here has said the Secret Service did a good job.
Okay, so what's your position then? What are you arguing? We all agree the Secret
Can I-
Service
can I-
did a
I'm about to.
terrible
I
job.
just want to ask my real quick.
Sure.
Nobody keeps saying the Secret Service did an amazing job. Obviously, there were fuck ups. The fact is, we don't know exactly what happened over these 2
Why?
minutes
Why were they fuck ups?
because it just happened, and we're going to have to wait a little bit.
Just is.
What you're doing is
There's
you're
supposed to
speculating.
be
You're
a
fine. You're
congressional
allowed to do
hearing
that. It's
soon.
free.
Like
It's a free country.
speculating with evidence.
Do that. You know what else I support? This is why this whole stream was about, right? The other thing I support in this free country where we can express, we have free speech, is mean tweets. Something that I have been hearing for the past 8 years. I've heard conservatives shit on liberals for being upset about mean tweets, and oh my god, the insane fucking pearl clutching that I've seen over the past 2 days about fucking some loser StarCraft streamers mean tweets it's fucking bonkers.
I literally get called Hitler and a Nazi and a pedophile on a daily basis.
This is crazy. Have a good night, guys.
I sort of have a middle position. I do think the massive pro clutching on the right is cringe, but I do think that was a very bad tweet by Destiny, and I think it was, it was just a bad tweet and a bad take.
Destiny's response was disappointing. I was expecting Destiny, based on what I know of Destiny, I was expecting him to be one of the people to say, "Yeah, I hate Trump, but this is completely wrong. This should not have happened." Then to see his tweets, like the complete opposite, it was very like
Yeah,
distasteful.
that's fair. That's fair. I
Yeah,
agree
but the
with that.
problem is that like when you're watching a bunch of people that you know have done all of this shit like over and over and over, and you're watching
Two
those
wrongs
same
don't make a
people,
right,
the
Tom.
people, it doesn't matter though. Those are the people that you're talking to. Those are the people that you're arguing with. Those are the people who are complaining
Tom,
in
by that,
right in
Tom, by
front
that,
of you, and
Tom,
those are the people that you're going to start calling out.
Tom,
Tom, by that same logic, okay, that logic can be applied in every direction. By that same logic, people can say, "Well, who cares if that cop killed George Floyd because he's a terrible person because of his past?" So
Wait.
would you
No.
use the
Hold on.
same logic?
No.
Would you use
The
the
point.
same? Would you use the same logic?
Bingo,
No,
Brad.
I think that when it comes to like hypocrisy from people who are saying things like, oh, George Floyd deserved to die. He was a fucking criminal and he was on drugs and blah, 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 right? Those same people who laughed it up with Steven Crowder pretending to get a knee put on his neck and doing a bunch of like jokes about George Floyd dying and all of this shit, that like those same people turning around and throwing a fit and crying about the fact that people called Trump a Nazi or called him Hitler is like, it's so disgusting to watch those people who laughed at George Floyd and made a bunch of jokes about it, then cry that people called Trump Hitler is like so disgusting to watch happen in real time where there's no fucking shot you can allow those people to get away with that shit. And the fact that they're like that now, that even as we're sitting here saying like, yeah, this isn't that big of a deal, you guys are fucking like freaking out over people calling him Hitler and now saying that that's what caused him to get shot, that those people even get up in a bigger uproar about it and throw an even bigger fit when again it's the same fucking people, it's the same people over and over who are laughing it up over all the other fucking tragedies. Like, yes, it's kind of obnoxious, and it doesn't mean that two wrongs make a right. It means that like it's kind of obnoxious to watch the same hypocrisy happen over and over and over until eventually you get to a point where you're like, you know what, fuck you guys. Like, you're all such babies, dude. This is something that's
No,
like very minuscule compared to all of the shit that y'all have done.
Tom, do you agree that a good goal, a worthy goal, would be to tone down the rhetoric, the temperature, and to engage with the other side in a much more civil and constructive way? Do you agree with that general statement?
You can't say
As I've
yes.
said,
Look it up.
I think that it's probably best to shame these people out of their positions and shame the fuck out of them for being
Oh,
Isn't the left
trying to shame
terrorist
us.
sympathizers.
Like, aren't they against
Well,
like
that's the
body
thing,
shaming
Tom.
and
Okay,
shit like that?
Brad, do you agree with what I said? Do you think it would be generally beneficial on both sides to tone down the rhetoric and to have more respectful dialogue?
Yes.
And well, that was a question for Brad, but
Oh, go ahead. Bye, Brad.
Yeah, of course it would be beneficial. Like, I'm a huge Steven Crowder fan, but when he made a video, when he made that video about George Floyd, where he had somebody put their knee on his neck, or I think he put it on his upper back. I'm not sure, but when he made that video, I found it distasteful. Now I'm very loyal. I'm still a huge Steven Crowder fan. I'm not gonna say, oh, he made
And
one
not just
video
you,
I
Brad.
don't like.
I
But
remember that video. Many people found that distasteful.
yeah,
I was in the
yeah,
comment section of that video. I
yeah.
never
So
was a
so
Steven Crowder fan.
it's like yeah, I agree it goes both ways. I agree Trump has a lot of flaws. He says a lot of stuff that's out of line. But does that mean he should get his head blown off? Or does that mean when he almost
Brad,
gets his head
no
blown
one
off,
is really
people should
saying that he should get his head blown off. Okay,
Yes, there is.
maybe not on this panel, but the point of this
I think if
discussion
you're saying he should have gone to the gun range, you are kind of saying he should have had his head blown off. Like, you're saying he
yeah,
should
but
have had better aim
it's
and
it's
hit
a
him in the head.
horrible, it's a joke and horrible taste. But is that a joke or
But
is that
that is what
actual?
it is. But that is what you're
Well,
saying, though.
isn't
You
it
are
just
saying
a
that.
Schrodinger's joke? It's only a, it's only a joke, in reference to the response they get. So if people think it's that was bad, then they'll say, oh, it was just a joke.
you're gonna
But if
joke
people
the
like
day
it,
after it happened?
not
Yeah,
really.
dude, I agree with you. It's horrible
Yeah.
taste. I agree with you, and I'm even more adamant about the idea of like making
And the
fun
and the and the
of the
disappoint
Wait, let me
and the
just finish this.
yeah,
I,
go
I
ahead.
I'm even more adamantly opposed to the idea of joking around about the death of the family who was there, right? I think we do need to make a distinction between Trump and the family. Neither one of them deserves to get shot, but you know, there are different cases in terms of you know, emotional weight. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, I do think this issue is on both sides. I do think that Trump has significantly contributed to it throughout his career. If we look at politics in 2012, in 2008, it's totally different than where it is now. I mean, Trump literally his whole thing initially was giving me nicknames to his political opponents. He has done some
But
of the
at
most
least nicknames is just a joke. We understand nicknames to always be a joke. But actually,
sure.
advocating the violence,
Is it a joke
not the
when he
same.
says about McCain that I like my war heroes that don't get captured?
Yeah, that's more of an insult, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. It's a pretty bad insult, don't you think?
Yeah, it's especially that he suffered it. But yeah,
Yeah.
because
So,
he was
so
I think he was captured. I'm not sure his history.
he was captured. He refused to give up any information. He was eventually released because of a trade that took place, but he yeah, he was captured. He was a war hero. I mean, there's no other way of explaining him. Uh,
Well, he does have a shady past because I'm not sure you're remember that incident with the plane.
what plane?
So I think it was Biden, who, not Biden, fucking McCain, who during the war crashed one of the planes into the carrier. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Um, I don't
But
what like is a terrorist attack?
it
It's
people
an
think it was
accident or
well. That's the thing. People think it was politically motivated that he crashed the plane.
I no, that's not. I don't believe there for a second. Doesn't seem at all aligned with John McCain's character. He was very like fucking patriotic. He was definitely not in any way someone who would reserve to. Again, I didn't agree with him politically on a lot of shit, but he was at least someone who was worthy of respect, in my opinion.
This is this is the bottom line going forward is they need to do an investigation and if
They're doing one right now.
okay, maybe it'll be real, maybe it'll be fake,
Yeah,
but they
we'll
need to do a real
investigate it
one.
ourselves.
And
You keep repeating that, but it's not the Secret Service investigating themselves. I believe it's the FBI that's leading the investigation.
Alex, but it's the
Okay, if
government
it's the FBI,
investigating the
that's
government.
better.
They
Yeah.
protect their own.
So who do you wait? First of all, that's not true. There's been many government investigations where people working in the government were found guilty. Second of all, who do you
Yeah.
think should perform the investigation then? Like who would it be if it's not
No,
someone?
you make
Certainly not them.
a fair point. I mean, if the government is corrupt, then I guess there is nobody legitimate to investigate. So
But just
I don't
somebody
know.
from
I'm
outside,
just
you can have
saying.
like a private firm do it.
I'm just saying. I hope there's a real investigation. If it's found out that any Secret Service agents knowingly allowed this to happen, they need capital punishment. And going forward, Trump needs to either beef up Secret Service security times 10 with agents that he trusts, or he needs to get private security because he cannot trust these motherfuckers that just let him get shot in the head.
Okay, we'll see what he does.
Would you trust a security team that let you get shot in the head, Alex?
You keep
Heck
saying
no.
head again. It's the ear, but sure, small
If they
quibble.
headshot,
Okay,
headshot.
so you're gonna go to your security team and be like, man, guys, you let me get shot in the ear. That's cool.
No,
Like, come
I,
on, man.
I don't know enough information. I don't
It's cool,
know.
bruh. It's
I
cool.
don't know. I would need to know what happened more before I
Like, we
make a
all have bad
definitive.
days at work. Don't worry about it.
I would need to know more information before making a definitive
What
decision
more
on.
information would you need to know? They let you get shot in the ear and almost get killed. What more do you need to know?
Right? Was this a fuck up that could have been avoided, or was this an inevitable
It
fuck
could have
up?
been avoided. It could have been avoided.
Yes, says the security expert whose credentials include arguing with people on YouTube and barely answering questions. Like, what do you mean? You don't know?
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, what are your credentials?
are you
At least I
secure?
have evidence.
I'm no. Your
I have
evidence.
video evidence.
Your evidence is literally like,
2
well,
minutes.
it was 2
That's
minutes.
solid
I mean, who
evidence.
thinks?
That's solid
Uh,
evidence. I would say.
Alex,
Also, I'm not making a claim, by the way. I'm agnostic. You're making the claim. I'm not making the claim. I'm saying it's possible entirely that there was massive negligence on that part. I'm just saying before
There's
I
only
can
two positions
definitively
on this.
let me.
claim to
I
this
want to ask Alex.
conclusion,
Alex, can I ask
I
you a
would
question?
need to see, in the investigation and let more information come out.
Alex, let me ask you this. Let's say they do a real investigation and they discover that there were 7 Secret Service agents that were supposed to make sure that didn't happen. Maybe that was their specific spot. That's what they were in charge of. And they find out that there was no bad intention. It's just that these 7 secret agents were complete fuck ups, completely incompetent, completely failed at their job. What do you think should happen to them legally?
They were
Or not
complete
necessarily legally, but what do you think should happen to them?
criminally, or
In general, what do you think should happen to? Do
so
you
we're
think
talking
anything should
about
happen
just.
legally, or do you
Are
think
we
they
talking
should just get
about
fired?
gross negligence? Hang on, Brad. Key question: are we talking about gross negligence, or are we talking about like them actually being quote unquote in on it?
We're just talking about gross negligence because I'm saying the argument you're giving. Let's say best case scenario for your argument is
Um,
that there was no malice intent. It's
But
just
hang
a
on, it's
bunch
not
of
it's not even my argument. Again, my position on this is largely agnostic.
gotcha.
What do I think should happen to them? Obviously, they should lose their job. I think there should be charges filed in terms of how long. Obviously, I don't believe in the death penalty. Nor do I think they should even do life in jail. Depending on how long they spend in jail, should depend on what evidence is out there. But yeah, I think if there's gross negligence, there should probably be some jail time. Yeah.
Okay.
But again, I don't know that much about the legal side of like being a Secret Service agent, so I'm like out of my depth here.
What do you think Trump should do going forward? Do you think he should keep the Secret Service or hire private security?
Uh, Again, I don't have a fresh information that Trump probably has. I think he's got the money. Well, it seems like he has the money. It can't really hurt to beef up the Secret Service with additional private security. I think that it can't hurt him. So, why not do that as a extra precaution? Yeah, probably would do that if I was in his shoes.
Yeah. A key thing I don't hear a lot of people in the news talking about as well is this 20-year-old kid. Let's say that he's just a 20-year-old kid that took it upon himself to kill Trump because he just doesn't like Trump. This kid is so selfish because obviously that's wrong. It's completely wrong.
Yeah,
But
of course.
even yeah, but even hypothetically speaking, if this kid was actually correct, which obviously I don't think he is, but even if he was correct in the sense that he thinks he's killing Hitler and doing the world some big favor,
That comment is
we
totally
were
untrue. That
we were
that
one
that
inch
comment there is totally wrong. Sorry, go ahead.
we were 1 inch away from civil war, and that kid didn't give a fuck. That's
I
a
don't
very selfish
think
kid.
I don't think there would have
Exactly,
been
Brad.
civil war at
It
all.
would have been.
I think there would have been riots. I think there would have been property damage. There might
It
have
would have
been
been civil war. Look,
even people shot. I don't think
no, Alex.
we I don't okay, can you stop interrupting? I don't think that there would have been civil war or anything close to it. Because one side has all the firepower and one side doesn't, the federal government. So I don't think that there would have been a civil war. But yeah, like again, like I'm just as critical of this fucking 21-year or 20-year-old kid as you are. I think from a pragmatic perspective, and just from an ethical perspective, violence is always wrong unless it's self-defense. And I think that it would have caused a lot of damage. So yeah, I mean but I've said that a few times. All right, let me just get through these two super chats real quick. Destiny supported left-wing brigade laying siege to public courthouses, burning police stations, and more. He hasn't moved in the he and his curl don't go pro. Okay, I'm not familiar with what you're talking about, which is laying siege to public courthouses. I would need to see the clips for that. Alex, do you think MAGA tards care about the same fake electors plot and him getting off presidential immunity for all his crimes? I don't think they care that much. No.
Yeah, Trump's the only president that's ever done a crime. And look, I want to touch on
Yeah.
this. So
Wait, hang on, but that's
people on the
no,
left,
no, 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 no. Wait, that's such a bad characterization. No one's saying is Trump's the only person that's ever done a crime. There's a lot of people critical of Obama doing a drone strike that killed an American citizen, including myself. But this particular crime, yes, no other president in recent history, if ever, has done a fake electorate scheme to essentially.
that's worse than killing innocent Muslims. Wow.
never said it was
Wow.
war. Wait, hang
No,
on.
I'm
Never
saying
said.
you're like,
Wait,
yeah,
stop.
Obama drone striked innocent Muslims in the Middle East, but this guy, he
Wait, hang on.
tried
Did I
to steal an
say?
election.
Why do I
Really?
keep getting strawman so badly, by the way, today? Did I say it was worse?
Well,
I'm
you're making
saying
it seem that way, isn't
I'm
it?
saying
So
you
what
Did,
was
compared.
it?
I'm
wait,
saying it's a weird
did I
comparison.
say it was
That's all I'm
worse?
saying.
Just
I'm
answer
saying
this
it was a
question.
weird comparison.
It wasn't even a comparison. I was giving you an example of something that the left has done that's wrong, of a
Yeah.
crime
So
that
go
someone
after
on the left
Obama.
has
So
committed.
yeah. So go after Obama for the innocent children he killed first, then go after Trump.
Yeah, we should
Well, hang
shame
on.
you for that. Let's
You would
shame
go.
Obama for what he
Wait,
did and
wait,
push
can you
you
just
guys
stop?
a little bit
Wait, I'm
to
gonna
the
mute
right.
you.
Go ahead.
Just
Let Alex speak.
stop,
Let
okay.
Alex speak.
Yeah, stop interrupting, dude. Okay, so first of all, you said innocent children. So the criticism has been about that U.S. citizen who was not really a child. Now, if you want to talk about drone strikes themselves killing children, that's fine. But Trump increased the drone strike program by 400%. So if we're gonna go after presidents for killing innocent children with drone strikes, then Trump would also be at the very top of that list. So that's one important thing to acknowledge. Again, I didn't say that it was worse. I said that that was an example of someone who's on the left who broke, what a lot of people on the left at least perceive to be a law, and a lot of people on the left and right being critical of him for. What I was saying is that the Trump crime is unique because it hasn't never happened in U.S. history. And
What does it
also,
matter
it
if it's
seems. Wait,
unique?
stop.
Who cares
It
if it's
also
unique?
seems like if you just look at the way things have panned out for the last 30 years, it seems that presidents generally get immunity for anything they do that's foreign policy wise. It just seems like they automatically get immunity to that, but it's really domestic stuff that actually gets them, like, can potentially get them in legal trouble. Not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying that's how things are as they stand right now. So yeah, I think that the fake electorate scheme was a crime, and it seems that a lot of people on the right don't really give a shit about it, which is
Well,
okay.
who cares if it was a unique crime? You might think it's unique. Who cares?
What
I
do you
mean,
mean? You don't think trying to subvert
your only complaint is
democracy
that
is
it's unique. That's your only complaint. You think it's unique,
no?
and
That's not
therefore
my complaint. Oh my god, dude, you guys strawman me so fucking bad. It's
that's what you
ridiculous.
said, man. You think it's unique,
I
and
said
therefore
it
it's
was a
worse.
unique crime. I didn't say that's the only reason it's a big deal. That has nothing to
Why
do
is
with
it
the
a big
reason.
deal then?
Because you had a president of the United States trying to subvert democracy essentially by using a fake
Subvert
electorate
democracy?
scheme.
No,
Yeah, it
never
was a
happened.
wait, hang on. Fake electorate scheme. What do you think a fake electorate scheme is?
Wait,
What do you
Never
what
think?
happened.
exactly did he do?
Well, I'm asking you. You seem to be so dismissive of it. So explain to me.
No, I don't
What do
know,
you?
man.
Okay, so why are you being so critical if you have no idea what the fuck?
I'm asking you, what is it? What did he do?
Yeah, I can answer that, but you're the one that's taking a strong position and saying nothing happened. I'm curious how you feel that way if you know nothing about this at all.
No, I'm not saying nothing happened. I'm saying that
Explain to
your
me what you
complaint that
know,
it's
and I will
unique
correct you. Just tell me what you know, and I'll correct you.
about this electoral scheme. I know nothing of it.
Okay, there we go. You know nothing of it.
Yeah,
So
what's wrong with
essentially,
it?
I'll explain to you in about 3 seconds. So essentially, Trump organized a fake electorate scheme. So I'm not sure how much you know about how
Yeah,
the
what is it?
elections work in America. Well, stop. How well the elections vote in America. But there's essentially every state that votes. If they go with Trump or Biden, there's electorates that are basically set up by that state, and then they submit their whatever their electorate vote or whatever the fuck you call it.
What did Trump do, man?
Well, stop. They submit their electorate vote to Congress, and that's where it counts. It's largely a ceremonial thing, but it is something that happens.
But they're
Trump,
state officials.
yes, Trump decided to subvert that by getting a bunch of people to pretend like they were electorates and send their whatever their card or their fake electorates registration to Congress. Those people, the fake electorates, went to jail. They all went to jail. They were all punished. But
So
somehow Trump, the man that organized the whole thing, might be getting away scot-free with it.
wait, Trump organized a bunch of random people to submit like fake votes?
Yes, to pretend that they were
Oh, God, the
electorates.
stupidity
Yes.
tonight.
Is that
And
what you're
he
saying?
had
I don't know what you're saying anymore. So
yes,
yes, that's what it
he
is,
had
Tom?
fake people show up to pretend that they were electorates, and he had fake slates of electorates saying that they were legitimate, that when they weren't.
The goal was to confuse Mike Pence and give Mike Pence and the Senate, or I believe Senate or House of Reps, I forget, plausibility to actually say, well, we don't really know what happened here. It seems like there's a bunch of electorates coming in, so we're just going to not certify
So
this
if
electorate.
this is a crime to make these fake votes, why wasn't he indicted on it? Or jailed for it?
He was
Wait,
indicted
he
for it.
was. He still has hearings pending for it.
So he still has hearings for it?
Yeah, he was indicted for it. What? Do you not read the indictment for the January 6th case?
No, man.
He still has three
Well,
more.
you should try to do a tiny amount of research before you criticize.
He still has a federal case that's pending. He also has the racketeering charges that like most of his company has already pled guilty to, and there were 17, I think, originally indicted for the.
Charges?
No, the charge was not dropped.
What did they drop recently?
There was recently he got immunity because of the decision from the Supreme Court, and the federal case from Jack Smith might end up getting dropped because he might get immunity from it, but it hasn't been like fully decided yet.
It has not been dropped yet. I don't actually think it's going to get dropped. And yeah, like again, you're just so uninformed about all this shit. Like maybe become more informed before you take such a strong position.
No, Alex, your only disagreement is that it's unique. That's your only disagreement. Correct?
The straw manning on the other side is
I'm not straw manning you.
My disagreement with it is that it is a crime.
Yes, and Obama did crime, and you're okay with that.
I'm not okay with that at all. When did I say I was okay with the crimes that Obama committed?
Obama commit? What crimes did Obama commit? What is he talking about?
It's just massive whataboutism. Well, Obama created crime. I've never said that I'm okay with that.
What about the unique crime that Trump did? What about it?
What crimes did Obama commit? What are we talking about?
All politicians have committed crimes, and they're only going after one person. That's a valid point.
That's not. But that's not true, though. All politicians don't commit crimes.
They prosecuted George Bush for all the innocent people he murdered overseas. When did this happen?
First off, that would all fall under everything that Trump would get immunity for. That's not. Those are all things that Trump didn't. Trump didn't get indicted for anything anywhere close to like stuff that actually falls under his title as commander in chief. That those things do fall under their title, and those things, and those things were backed by Congress and like the United Nations and tons of other countries. It was not George Bush making that decision by himself. Whereas these things were Trump making those decisions.
Right now, Brad, the way things have worked for the last decades and decades is it seems like presidents can get away with anything foreign related, but when it comes to things that are domestic, there's less. What?
That's wrong.
It's wrong. I agree with you. It's wrong. I'm just explaining to you the way things are. I'm not making a moral characterization about it. I agree. I don't think they should get away with it. I have no problem of Obama being charged, of George Bush being charged. I have no problem with that at all. But your statement that, for example, only Trump has been charged, that's not true at all. At all. John Edwards in 2000, I believe, 8 was charged with the same thing that Trump was charged for in New York. The falsifying business records. So yeah, like plenty of Democrats have been charged with things, as well as Republicans have. I believe Bob Menendez, isn't he a Democrat? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just gonna.
It wouldn't matter. Let's say if he was.
What do you mean it wouldn't matter? He's a senator who's being charged pretty aggressively.
I mean, you would still think it's
he's a Democrat. So I'm just using that as an example of Democrats being charged with crimes. Also, it's not just Republicans that get charged with crimes. Democrats get charged.
Maybe he disobeyed the master. No, I'm playing.
No, he was corrupt, bro.
Well, all of them are corrupt. It's pretty blatant. Pelosi is doing insider trading, so it's kind of self-serving.
Everyone in Congress participates. It's not just Pelosi. Everyone in Congress participates in insider trading. I think it's wrong, and I think that should be illegal. But it's not just a Pelosi thing. Everyone does it left and right.
Yeah, but the thing is that only Trump gets investigated.
The point is, maybe perhaps not only Trump, but the point is
It's
Trump
not only
supporters.
Trump. Like, just do
Yeah,
a tiny
okay,
amount of
okay,
reading.
yeah, it's not only Trump, okay, but Trump supporters have known this for a long time. Even anti-Trump people are starting to wake up to it. They're even saying, "I hate the guy, but wow, this is really not fair." Is
No,
if they
they're
really wanted to, they could go after every politician on crimes. But they're
no,
very
this isn't
selective
true.
about who
That's
they
just
target.
not true. That's just not
Exactly, they're
true.
very
That is
selective.
not true. No, you are
This is
you
just
guys are dead
pure
wrong. You
hope.
guys are
So
dead wrong on this. You
none of these Democratic politicians, popular politicians, have ever committed a crime.
No one- oh my
you would
God.
have to point to an actual crime. Somebody literally just got charged
Insider
today,
trading from
found
Pelosi.
guilty
It's pretty
today for getting paid by a company to like change their votes on something. These people get charged for this shit all the time. These are not things that just go by the wayside. If it happens, people get in trouble for it. But if it doesn't happen, and you can't just assume it happens and just assume the crimes are happening without any evidence for the to like point to and say, here's where the crime was.
Okay, what about Hunter, the Hunter laptop? Do you think that's election interference? The way social media
Wait,
suppressed
Hunter
the vote?
Biden, I believe, is facing trial. Wasn't he?
No,
Yeah,
no.
he was
He's
also-
talking
Yeah,
about
it's a little bit
Twitter.
late, bro.
He's talking about what Twitter did.
Timing matters. No, timing
Twitter's
matters.
wait, hang on. Twitter's a private company that has nothing to do with the government.
They
And
were
Twitter-
told. No, they were told. Came out that social media companies were told by the government to suppress the story.
Have you ever read
kind
the
of.
Twitter files?
Kind of. Not
Mark
really. So
Zuckerberg-
they were told. Hold on. Kind of.
Wait, Brad, did
Mark
you read the
Zuckerberg
Twitter
said.
files?
Mark Zuckerberg said that
I
they
need to
told
read
him.
for what
But
Mark
hold
Zuckerberg
on, Brad. Mark Zuckerberg said that they told him like 2-3 months beforehand that something was coming soon that was likely going to be Russian misinformation. And then when the laptop came out, they just assumed it was Russian misinformation. Which honestly,
convenient.
I mean, truly. No. It's not convenient. Truly, even if they didn't say that, anybody hearing that a president, like the vice president's son, and somebody who's currently running for president and is like the favorite to win, happened to leave a laptop somewhere where there's videos of him smoking crack and having sex with hookers and a bunch of
Underage girls.
deals with fucking China and
Yeah, this is
Ukraine.
so hard to
There's
believe.
no
Wow.
way. No, anybody who hears this
Got
is
crack
like,
for brains.
yeah,
All this
fucking
crazy
right,
conspiracy
dude.
theories,
This
like,
is
wow,
a
this-
story that was made up.
him and
No
Elliot,
shot
it's
that's
just
real.
hallucinating.
Yeah,
Yes,
Brad,
it sounds like a
if
made
you're-
up story.
if you're
Yes,
this
it
awful,
sounds
that
like
video,
Russian
Tom.
misinformation. It just
Brad,
does.
if you're-
He was literally on the
This
video.
is what's so ironic and hypocritical is the left will call us conspiracy theorists, and we are to an extent. But then you have your own conspiracies. Oh, the government genuinely believed that this was Russian interference because there's no way Hunter Biden would smoke crack.
That's not-
He would
that's
just
not
never
Wait,
do
conspiracy
at the
that.
time, we had no reason to believe that, though. At the time, there was no reason to believe that was a real
You
thing.
never have a reason to believe it until you find out somebody smokes crack.
Yes, but that's so fucking outrageous. If somebody came out with a laptop right now saying that if this had never happened with Hunter
cares that he
Biden,
smokes
and they
crack?
came out with a
No, it's fucking
laptop saying
girls.
that Bianca, is it Bianca Trump, that she was like having sex with hookers and smoking crack and shit, I would say the same exact thing. I would be like, yeah, right, dude, this is bullshit. No way. Like, it's an impossible thing to believe.
Let me just add a few things, Brad. If you're so outraged about the Hunter Biden laptop incident, which you believe could have swayed the election, and maybe it would have, then you should be equally outraged about Trump basically hiring a company that does catch and kill, where so essentially they basically buried the whole story with Stormy Daniels and many other stories, so that doesn't get out. That should be equally outrageous to you. Because that could have changed some things in 2016. But again, like, no one on the right seems to give a shit about that. It's only when like on the left, that's when people get up in their feelings about it.
Repeat, what did Trump do? I didn't hear that last part.
So how closely did you follow the New York case with Trump?
I'll be right back.
Which one is that? I think he's got like 500 cases.
No, I'm talking about the criminal case for the falsifying business records with intent to commit a felony.
I didn't follow it that closely. I thought
Okay,
it was
well, it was an interesting case, and a lot of interesting things came out. One of the things that came out was that Trump basically was working with, I believe, a publisher or newspaper to do something that's called catch and kill, where essentially they buy up stories and they kill the stories to make sure the public doesn't find out about it. And that's exactly what they were trying to do with Stormy Daniels. They didn't want people to find out about it before the election because they were worried it would interfere with the results. And they succeeded. This was 2016. They kept the public from learning about the story, before the election. And in addition to doing that, they also basically broke the law by, again, falsifying business records to prevent the American people from finding out about the Stormy Daniels, story. Now, personally, I don't think it's the Stormy Daniels. The fact that he fucked a hooker doesn't matter to me really at all, or a
I
porn
was
star,
going to ask
whatever.
you what it is that.
Doesn't matter to me.
not a
But
hooker, Alex, a sex worker. Have respect. Have
but
respect.
but the falsifying business records and the catch and kill should have you equally as outraged as what you're talking about with Hunter
No,
Biden.
no, 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 no. You know what really has me outraged, Alex, is you referring to this respectable sex worker as
Brad, just
a
stop trolling.
hooker. No,
Engage,
no, no.
engage,
No, no,
engage.
no. I am a proud male feminist. Okay, I
Brad,
stand
just
with
oh my
her.
god, don't deflect. Just engage because I got to wrap up, so I don't have long. Just
Okay,
engage.
what was the question? I'll try to keep my anger down from your misogyny.
Do I have to repeat this again? Okay.
No, no, no. Here's the bottom line. Okay,
He's saying that
has
Stormy
Trump
Daniels
perhaps
was
bent
covered up.
some rules? Perhaps, but most politicians have. If they looked into these other politicians as much as they look into him, it's a double standard.
Yeah,
You're
because
you're
guys,
not
you,
engaged.
you
Wait,
tell
wait,
us
wait, wait, wait.
You're
You
You're not
realize
engaged.
you hold on. Do you
when
realize how
it's
many
You're not engaged.
investigations?
Real quick, let me
But
respond.
just
Hang on, I gotta respond.
he's not even right though. Like
Brad.
Hillary had so many investigations into her email stuff. Biden had tons of investigations into
wanna
the
hear
stuff
it,
with
Tom.
China, with Ukraine. Like there have been so many investigations into everybody surrounding
prove
Trump
them
that on the
innocent?
Democratic side.
Okay.
Yes, and they never found anything with these people, but they did with Trump.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that they investigated. I'm glad they did deep investigations into Hillary Clinton
investigated
and found
ourselves.
that she's never committed a crime. I'm happy to hear that.
Okay. You were okay. I'm gonna
did.
respond now. Brad, you were
We
it seems like
investigated
you were
ourselves.
Let
pretty
Alex go on. I
outraged
wanna hear Alex.
about I'm gonna just let me talk. It seems like you were pretty outraged about the idea that essentially that the Hunter Biden story was killed and wasn't released to the public, and that could have messed with the election results. That's what I was hearing from you. So I just want to see if you're consistent. So I'm telling you that in 2016, the same exact thing happened on the other side, where Trump used the publisher to do catch and kill, and then also falsify his business records in order to prevent that story, the Stormy Daniels story, from getting out before the election. And he succeeded in that goal. So wouldn't you be at least equally outraged over those two things?
Well, there is a key difference I think you're failing to acknowledge is it would be one thing if Biden paid people to suppress a story, but it was the government on his behalf telling social media to suppress a story.
You're not engaging in what I'm saying. Don't you think it's a big deal that someone who's running for president who became president suppressed a story through
I think
falsifying his
he's
business
agreeing
records?
it is a big deal, but it's well. First off, it's not even
Let
it's
him
not on
answer.
the same caliber. It's
Let
not
him
even the
answer.
same caliber.
He's a big
One
boy.
fucked the kid on video.
Let
The other
him
one
answer.
fucked the hooker.
Let him answer. Let him answer. Don't you think
I'm
it's a big
saying,
deal?
I'm saying,
Someone
I'm
who's
saying,
running for
if you,
president became president, suppressed a story
I don't even think it got suppressed. She talked about it.
after the election.
Honestly,
She
that
was
would have
probably,
not changed my view.
she was probably just sleeping. She probably just slept through the election because she was tired from a long day of work.
No, because they gave her a massive bribe. They paid her hundreds of thousands of dollars to not say anything.
Well, she took the
Yeah,
money.
and I think she
Okay, that's
broke.
private money.
Isn't it?
They
Let me ask
didn't.
you
I
this,
don't think
isn't
they
it
actually ended up
illegal?
paying her.
Isn't
No,
it?
I believe they did right
I
before they
I
had
thought
to.
that was part of the whole problem was that that's why she
So
came out with it is
she got
because they
paid for
kept
her
there
job.
was a
No,
argument over whether or not
I believe
Comey or the
they
other guy
paid
were
her.
supposed to pay her, and they kept arguing over who was supposed to do it, and then neither one of them
So
actually
they're
ended
just
up giving her
arguing
the
over a
money.
receipt? What
Look,
about
look.
it?
Well,
Okay,
no, they
I'll
had a
answer the
contract
question.
with her to do it,
Can
but
you
they
guys
just didn't actually
can
do
the
it.
right engage in anything I say?
Look, I'll
Or
answer.
I'm just gonna do straw man session.
Dude, I'll answer the question. Okay, all jokes aside, sure, if Trump did that, then it's wrong. But a lot of people don't give a
Same.
shit because all these politicians are corrupt, and we all know it. And it's just like you're not gonna get us with, oh, Trump broke the law here and there, so let's not vote for him. It's not gonna happen.
I'm
with
just
Brad.
People are
I'm
putting
not
their
saying
faith in
don't
Trump
vote
more
for
than
him.
ever.
I'm with Brad on this.
Largely because of that. But I'm just saying that don't you think that should be concerning that the person you
No,
support seems to what I
no,
didn't ask you, Darth. That the person you support seems to very liberally break the law.
no. It doesn't hurt us at all.
But he's
didn't
the
Shaming
guy
ask
who's
to hurt you.
supposed to stop
The
it from
shaming
happening.
tactic isn't
He's
gonna work.
supposed to fucking like drain the swamp and shit. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh yeah, we're definitely coming to drain that swamp.
You can't. The guy who you're voting for is the fucking swamp. That's the whole point.
He's the swamp. Oh yeah, he's
Okay,
the
so
Nazi.
what's the
Wait,
so what's
that's
the
such a wait. Hang on, that's a whole. I agree with you, Tom, but that's a whole other point. I just want to
okay?
get a
So
clear response from Brad.
what's the alternative? Like Joe Biden's not the swamp. He's
That,
totally
wait, hang
outside.
on. That's not the question I asked you. You're talking about suppressing stories before the election, which could alter the results of
It would
the
depend.
election.
Yeah,
If
look, it
you're
would
saying,
depend on the
if
story,
you're
man.
stop, I don't care. If you're saying that, for example, that Biden did that, okay, we can discuss that. But shouldn't you be equally as outraged for about Trump doing that?
That's not nuanced at all. It depends on the
I didn't.
story.
Okay,
If if it,
I'm gonna mute you. I'm not talking to you. Okay, Brad, for you.
I mean, I wasn't even that outraged about it. I was just making a point that it's always a double standard. Like that was my point.
What is the evidence that's a double standard?
Because none of the Biden supporters give a fuck that the government suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story. But then you want me to like say, "Oh yeah, Donald Trump's so terrible because he paid to suppress the story." You
Well,
don't see
first
the
of all,
double standard?
that's not true that none of the Biden supporters care. There's a lot of Biden supporters or people on the left who've criticized Biden plenty of times. Second of all, as far as
did
I
you?
understand from the Twitter files, it seems that there was no direct link between the Biden campaign and the suppressing of that story. It seems that that's what they were looking for when they did the Twitter files, and that's was never
The
found.
only thing that the Biden campaign asked for was for them to take down pictures of his penis. That was it.
And now it
That's
was
all.
pictures of him fucking a kid. That's what it's
No, it
pictures
was
of.
what. There was no
Okay,
pictures of
yeah,
him fucking a
this is
kid.
just.
Those pictures don't exist,
It's
you
literally on
motherfucker.
video, man.
No, it's
I
not.
listen.
You
I
are
don't know
such
what
a
kind of
liar. It is
porn you
not.
watch.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know what
called
kind of porn you're
Hunter
jerking off to,
Biden's personal porn. Hunter Biden's fucking a kid personal porn. That's what it is.
It
and
is
that's what you watch.
not.
If Hunter Biden wants to admit to it, yes.
It doesn't.
Has
It doesn't
Bi-
exist. You're a fucking liar.
Yeah, this is
I-
just
I-
so
My
weird.
my
Oh, yeah,
my,
yeah,
my
the video
point my
doesn't
point is,
exist.
man, a lot of people believe that Trump is best for the country. So even if you come at Trump supporters with, "Oh, he lied about business records, he falsified business,
He
oh, he
fucked
did
a
this, oh, he
hooker.
did that," we still believe he's the best for the country. And
Okay, and that's
all these politicians have done sketchy stuff. It's not
okay, but
unique to Trump.
that's totally fine. But that's not the I'm challenging your idea that this is something that happens only on one
Alex,
side. I'm
you gotta.
challenging that idea.
Mm.
I'm not actually telling you
No,
that. Hey,
my
because
point
of
was
this,
my
you need
point
to
was
vote for Biden. I understand.
Alex,
There's also
it
many
happens on
concerning.
all
Wait,
sides. We
stop, stop,
accept
stop,
that it
stop,
happens
stop.
on all.
Okay, I'm just muting you.
my point was there's a difference between a politician taking it upon themselves to pay to have a story suppressed versus the government doing
Yeah,
it
but
for
Brad,
them.
you didn't read the
Doesn't it
Twitter
concern
files.
you?
There was
Doesn't it
no
concern you?
evidence of that. The only thing the Biden campaign did was ask for the dick photos to be removed. Like you're talking about, like read the Twitter files and then we can have this discussion. But there was nothing at all. Like you're laughing, but
Yeah,
I'm
you're
telling you,
saying
like,
that we're not.
No, like
You're saying
that was
that
like
we're
their
not
main
upset
concern.
about
They're
something
like,
that
"Oh,
never
Dick
happened.
photos,
you
my
can show him
ass.
smoking crack, but just don't show his penis."
Okay, hold on. Let me
That
make
is that what
Brad's
you were
argument for
mentioning?
him because he doesn't even know what his argument is. So there was a story that was suppressed on Twitter and on Facebook about the Hunter Biden laptop that the Twitter and Facebook both made the decision themselves to take it down because months earlier there was information from the FBI saying that there was likely going to be Russian misinformation. And so because they chose to take it down, everybody looked at that as election interference because there were polls 3-4 years later that asked people, hey, if you had known this information at the time, would it have changed your vote? And a lot of people said yes. So it was a lot of people felt like that was election interference, but it was literally like everybody did have that information before the election. It was only suppressed for a couple of days and then it was put back up, and they only suppressed the link to one story. That was it. Just one story from one website. That was it. Everybody else was able to get through no problem. And if you took screenshots of the story and just blocked out the doxing information, that also got through.
That was my understanding from the Twitter files. Yeah. Okay. I do gotta wrap up. I do encourage Brad, because I don't think you actually like
Let
a
me
quote
say,
unquote.
let me say, let me
Okay,
hold on.
fine.
Can I say real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all jokes aside, I think it's good that they didn't show Hunter's dick because I do think that's
Oh, yeah,
good.
fucking
Like,
kid.
as a, you shouldn't show that without the person's consent. So I think that's good.
Yeah.
And then I just thought it was funny though. That was like the first thing, it just sounded funny. But no, I think that's good. And then what Tom said, I mean, okay, fair enough. I mean, it's a good point. But I'm just saying it probably goes all ways. So, you know.
Yeah, I'll just end up in this, Brad. I do think you should read the Twitter files and read the indictments for the New York case and for the let's just say the January 6th case. It will give you a lot more information. You might be surprised about how some things you thought were correct were not. But
Let me just ask you this: what do you think the purpose of that would be, though?
Well, to actually know
because
what arguments you're making, because
yeah,
this whole
because
time, every
to
time
get
you've made an
to
argument, you
get
haven't
more
really had the
information about the
details
things
on it.
you argue and believe. Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought I already said a lot of people in this country, they believe Trump is best for the country, and they don't even care if all these things are true. So
Well, do you not care about whether Trump has committed many crimes or not? Is that something that's irrelevant to you?
Alex, you do the
depends on
same
the
with your
crime, not
candidates.
I
depends on the
do
crime.
that all the time. What? I do that all the time. I have so many criticisms for Biden. It's like it's a long list.
Okay, did
I
you criticize him on the laptop thing?
what?
Did you
Yeah, so
criticize Biden on the laptop?
this is the bottom line is we only have two choices. We have Trump and Biden. So even if you prove all this stuff true about Trump, a lot of people are still going to choose him over Biden.
I'm
So
just
I don't
asking
even
you,
know what's the
for
point.
you, is it irrelevant the fact that if Trump has committed multiple felonies or he's innocent? Is that something that's irrelevant for you personally?
It is
It
for me.
I
depends
don't care about you, Darth. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and remove you because you just keep talking over everyone. Brad, for you,
depends on what it is because that's a way to frame it. Oh, if he's guilty of
Hmm?
multiple felonies, but first of all, we don't even know if he's actually guilty because the whole establishment's
wait,
against
you're
him.
not. You're not. I hate when you guys do this, which is just don't engage in what I'm saying. If it
No,
turns
because
out,
bro, I know the game plan. You want to just get a yes or no. That way,
Well,
if I
no,
say
he's
no, then
asking
it's like,
if he
oh,
was.
that's
No, it's
horrible.
a hypothetical, Brad. If he was guilty, you would want to know that, yes?
I'm just asking you if that would matter to you personally.
Mm, not really, unless it's like some super horrendous crime, like he murdered someone or raped
Okay,
someone.
I can
Then
promise
yes,
you, I can guarantee
but
you, if Biden had any part in election interference or he was committing felonies or he was committing crimes, I would not want to vote for this guy. I like
bro, if
definitely not. I
Biden,
would not
bro,
want
if
to do it.
well, what is committing crimes? You have to be specific.
If
What
he
is
was committing
committing crimes?
crimes that so I that's why I started off by saying like if election interference or if he's committing felonies or if he's like taking part in like really grand schemes to like steal from people or to hide things and commit fraud, all of those things, yes, I would think that those are more than enough for me to disqualify him from my ballot for sure.
Okay, but you have to look at the alternative. So
Oh
hypothetically
God,
speaking,
this is.
no, dude, this is okay. Then just
I
don't vote. Just
understand.
If
don't vote.
Trump
You have the
didn't
freedom to
commit
do
any
that. Just
crimes,
don't vote.
I would vote for Trump. If Trump was the one who didn't commit any crimes and Biden committed all the crimes that Trump did, I would vote for Trump.
I'd rather just vote for the person that's best for the country. Like if Joe Biden
Okay,
was a
that's
good
fine. That's fine. That's why I asked you the question. If it would matter to you if your candidate had committed crimes, and you
okay,
said it would
let me
only
make it
wait, you already answered. You
yeah.
said it would only matter if it was like something super fucked up like rape or murder. Okay,
Yeah,
that's your
because
position. That's fine.
how petty do you want to get? Oh, 10 years ago he stole $1,000. Oh,
No,
5 years ago he jaywalked. Who gives a fuck?
we're not talking about
I was a
jaywalking. We're
lot
talking
more
about
specific than that, dude. I was a
yeah.
lot more
Okay,
specific
if
than
it
that.
doesn't matter to you, that's fine. If you
No,
vote
and again, it doesn't exist in a vacuum because what's the alternative? It's either Trump or
We
Biden.
didn't
So
present it
unless
in
you
a
think that
vacuum.
Biden is
they're not mutually exclusive. You can think that, yes, to me, it matters if my candidate committed a crime, but at the same time, I will still pick him because I think he's better than the alternative. They're not mutually exclusive.
okay, I thought you were talking in terms of not voting for him.
But no,
You just asked
oh
if
my
it would
God,
matter to you, if you would want to
how
know,
did
because
people
initially he
misinterpret
was
me so
asking you
badly?
to look into the court cases, and you said, why would I want to look into them? So he's saying, wouldn't you want to know these things? Wouldn't you want that information? And then
I'm not saying
you
don't vote.
wouldn't
I'm
answer
just
the
asking
questions
you
because
kind
he's
of like
asking.
how much that matters to you. If it doesn't matter, that's fine.
No, it doesn't matter very much. No.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so I do want to wrap this up because this has gone way longer than I thought. Uh, yeah, I'm sort of like becoming a little political black pill after not you, Brad, but just seeing the chat. Like, it's just like people are just so trapped in the ideological bubble. They just like refuse to engage at all in what the other person is saying. Like, just engage in good faith in what the other person is saying. I don't know. It is kind of sad how like we can't really have good political, or very rarely can we have good political discussions where both sides
Well,
actually try to listen.
I'll tell you this: our political system, I believe Trump will be a lot better than Biden, but even Trump can only do so much because our political system, even if you put the best person in office, they can only do so much because they could have a great idea, and we have all these checks and balances. You need
Yeah,
all these.
we have to. Okay,
It takes
Brad.
forever. You
I
can't get shit
totally
done.
totally disagree that he's the best candidate, but we'd have to. That would be a very long discussion debate. So
No,
we'll.
that was not the point though. But would you agree that our system, it's like very difficult to get shit done?
That's how the founders wanted design. They did. That's exactly how the founders designed it.
They wanted it extremely difficult to get shit
They,
done.
yes, they
Okay,
wanted it to be. If you go and look
I
at
don't think it's a good system.
if yeah the founders wanted the system to be kind of like slow so that basically people can't do crazy things, so they wanted to err on the side of caution. Yes, that was how the system was designed.
Okay.
But yeah, I appreciate the super chat, my friend Kyle Kittenhouse. That's funny. uh yeah. It would be nice if like more people were willing to engage like in good faith when it comes to politics, and just like the straw manning I've seen from some people, not you, Brad, but is like insane. So you're saying totally the opposite of what I'm saying. So I can see how Destiny has become like pretty black-pilled in terms of that.
All
But
right,
at the same
I'm heading
time,
out.
that doesn't justify his actions. All right.
Later,
Appreciate you
bro.
all. Love you all.